I had it on advance. That's supposed to just be simple now. Hopefully that's better.
Looks a little better. Just because it's what they see doesn't mean it's what actually, like what we see doesn't mean that they're seeing it. I don't think it's on that big of a delay.
See, now it's not really freezing up as much, huh?
No.
Okay.
So we have 3 people in here.
Yeah, you guys just ask away if y'all want. It's Q&A. It's open forum. I'm just watching the prelims right now for UFC 234 before main card starts in about 45 minutes.
Yep. Card's trash.
But you want to talk about AEW
Oh,
and Kenny Omega and the rally, the press conference, and how that all went down.
what did you think?
A lot of names that you don't know,
Yeah.
you won't really know till you see them in the States, it seems like. A lot of international talent. Now, a lot of the hardcores that have seen these people were excited about it, it seemed like, online.
The women's division was really interesting because that's stuff that a lot of people don't know. I've never seen Aja Kong wrestle, but I mean, I heard good things. And then it's interesting too that they signed a transgender. That Nyla Rose is a transgender, and they signed clearly a gay dude in Sunny or whatever he was, and he's going to be wrestling in the women's division.
Really?
Yes, and Nyla is going to be wrestling in the women's division. So I think when they're talking about changing the world and being different and all that stuff, you're going to see that. It's going to be different for sure.
And what about Kenny Omega and Jericho?
It makes sense. I don't necessarily love the idea of them doing their big main event off of a rematch, but it makes sense. It's a good way to kick off the show to get people, the casual viewers, the ones that aren't as interested, the ones that are on the fence. They see that type of match and they're like, "Oh, okay, I'm down with that." So it makes sense. Overall, the card looks pretty good. I mean, those 4 matches that they basically announced looked pretty damn good.
Well, Hangman Page and Pac for I guess their world title. They haven't announced it, but you would imagine it's going to be for their first ever champion. And I don't know if they're also going to have tag team titles right off the bat, a women's title right off the bat, or they're just going to focus on the world title and go from there.
Yeah. This was actually on my Twitter. Someone asked a question. If you could go after one guy hardcore in WWE, if you were AEW, who do you try for?
Like WWE currently signed and everything?
Yeah.
It's a pretty loaded question.
I agree.
There's talent you can go for in the Fed that, sure, you'd love to have them.
Right.
But, I mean, really, what's the option there? I mean, Randy Orton's about the biggest name that seems like that's any kind of a possibility right now.
Yeah.
Besides your revivals
and
mid-cards.
I think, though, within 18 months, there's going to be a lot of guys that are just, you're going to be like, oh, wow, I didn't think about him, or oh, wow, you know? So just top guys that you would like to see in AEW. I mean, honestly, AJ makes sense, right? If you could get AJ, especially starting out, you get like the last 2 years of AJ's career, and you bring AJ in with the Bullet Club, with the Bucks, like that type of the elite. It's Kenny Omega's dream match. I think that would be the match that you really want to try to make. I think that would be a big drawing point to where you could probably do Kenny Omega versus AJ Styles in a football stadium. Like, that could be a big one.
And with Styles, though, I mean, how much longer does he have that you could utilize him?
I think 2 years. I think he's got 2 years, especially the way AEW's schedule is right now. I mean, he wouldn't have to wrestle that much. He could just be on Being the Elite, stuff like that. Like, I don't know what their TV plans are, but I mean, I doubt that they plan on having these guys wrestle every single week. So that would be probably my guy. Who do you got?
AJ's really the top guy, like you said, all around. When you think of longevity, though, someone who can really be branded as not, that WWE guy, but as an AEW guy, someone who's young that you can really attach a rocket to that maybe isn't getting the treatment they deserve in WWE.
Yeah.
Not like a Nakamura,
Right.
but Balor.
Yeah. Yeah. Finn's a big
I
one.
think, yeah.
Finn would be a big one.
You can. I mean, they have a history there, Balor and Omega,
Yep.
somewhat, from the club.
Definitely. No, that's a good one too. Finn, AJ be up there. Underutilized guys that I would like to see, like Tyler Breeze, that back from NXT. He does absolutely nothing in the WWE, and I think that he could bring something. Dolph Ziggler, of course, I really wanted, but it sounds like he re-upped. Dean Ambrose to me is very interesting. I wouldn't mind that one. A lot of different. There's a lot of guys that I wouldn't mind them taking. I mean, for sure, within the next, I think Kevin Steen would be amazing in AEW because Kevin Owens. See, I'm still stuck on Kevin Steen from ROH. And to bring him into something like that, I think would be incredible. So I would be all for that one too.
That's the thing too, is the schedule. When you're working with the WWE, you're working 250, maybe even 300 days.
Right.
When you actually put together dates you're working plus dates you're promoting.
Right.
And an AEW schedule, what does that look like? That's what we don't know right now.
For sure.
Because people are talking about this TV deal that they may have.
So I was listening to Kenny Omega on the Meltzer Report, and he said that, the AEW really wants to focus on the tag team division. And then Meltzer said, like, well, we all know in 18 months, like, what it could be. And, like, him and Kenny just kind of paused, like they knew something that other people don't. So I'm very curious to see who all could be there within the 18 months. You got possibly the Usos. I would love to see the Usos go to AEW.
They've done everything that they're going to do in WWE.
And the Bucks actually faced the Usos in a WWE dark match to try out for the WWE. So it's interesting that would kind of go full circle right there. So
yeah. We have a question. XGLLX says, do you think, like I do, that AEW should be looking to buy TNA, that they should buy the history of those title belts, the footage, and the fight library, basically, similar to what WCW did?
I mean, I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't think that's what they want to do, but I think footage would be important, right? And if you were going to, let's say that they were going to launch their own network type thing, their own streaming service, footage is important. If you had all of Impact's library, it's not too bad. Plus, if you were going to bring in an AJ Styles, I mean, think of all the matches and history and everything that you have with that. But there's a big but in this. TNA is viewed as a failure. Like, that's just at the end of the day, that's what it is. And I don't think that AEW wants to be associated with TNA for the good or the bad. But I just think in the end of the day, it's viewed as a failure. And a lot of it has to do, like, every AEW hater, WWE supporter, whatever you want to say, they're all going to point out and be like, there's going to be another TNA. So that's the biggest thing.
They're going to do this one step at a time, too. They're
For sure.
not going to just start this promotion, buy this library, start up a Hall of Fame, go to pay-per-view. They're going to get to Double or Nothing, their first event, and go from there. I don't think we're going to hear anything about a TV deal until after Double or Nothing.
I agree.
That's what it seems like, is they're going to do one or two events, maybe one in the summer. We already said they're going to do some kind of special event for Jacksonville.
I agree.
Maybe in August, something like that. Then you'll see your TV deal by the end of the year to kind of see what's really going to happen from here.
I agree. And, I mean, I just think that there's so many differences between AEW and TNA. Like, to me, TNA just kept bringing in guys, but there was no real direction. Like, I loved TNA. I fought that battle, right? But at the end of the day, when you look back at it all, there was no real legit creative process. There was no real smart business moves. Like, they just kept buying contracts and spending money. And, like, with them, I feel like this is so much more well-structured. These guys are so much more over. I mean, look at the ticket sales, for God's sakes. Like, it's crazy.
Jeff Atwell was asked if we're checking out the AAF new football league, which we did check out earlier briefly for a few minutes.
Looks like production's solid. Dustin Vaughn is the quarterback, it looks like, for San Antonio. He is total trash. He was the backup quarterback for Dallas a long time ago, and he was awful. So it's crazy to me that that's kind of the tier that they're at in quality of quarterbacks and stuff. But I'm curious to see how it looks. I haven't been able to watch it yet. Tonight's about the UFC. I do have it on DVR, and I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Brandon F., know him. He's a good buddy. AEW should buy Impact to get the wrestlers' contracts. They could use a lot of those guys and girls, 100%. And it sounds like to me they're more than willing to work these contracts, to work with other companies, all this stuff. I just think the hard part about it is like who gets the licensing on certain things. And so it's like, are they going to be happy with only coming out with 5 or 10 action figures because that's all that they have actually under contract, but yet every week you see 30 or 40 different wrestlers. You know what I mean? So I think that's also kind of a tough spot for them to be in, because it sounds like they definitely want exclusive deals, but also it sounds like they're more than willing to work with others. So I don't know.
Yeah. That's the thing, too. Like Lucha Brothers, they're the Impact Tag Team Champions right now. So are they working together already?
Yeah, so they're working, but the problem is the Lucha Brothers are stuck in that horrendous Lucha Underground contract. So the Lucha Brothers don't even actually have a contract with Impact. They don't have a contract with MLW. They don't have a contract with anything but Lucha Underground. So they're able to work these shows, but their pay and everything is totally dictated based off their Lucha Underground contracts, and they are getting screwed. Like, it is highway robbery what these companies are doing to them.
I mean, you would think Impact and AEW are going to work together. Brothers, I say more so like an announced partnership. They've already locked down AAA, OWE. Why not Impact?
I agree.
Like everybody always thinks Impact TNA is on their last leg. They're still here.
If anything, TNA could use the help from AEW. It's not really like AEW necessarily could use TNA. I mean, they could, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it would help TNA a lot in the fans' eyes. Like, oh, wow, they're working with AEW. Like, they're turning in a corner, you know? They're not just this crappy show on Pursuit or Twitch. So, I don't know.
I mean, they're on Friday nights as well, which SmackDown's fixed to go to Friday nights. To even add on to that, if you can't even find Pursuit as a TV channel.
In a couple of years, does AEW do well enough they want to do a Monday Night War? The interesting thing about AEW to me also is the fact that they're not really shying away from competing with Vince. Like, so many people, when they come in the game, they're all like, they do their thing, we're going to do our thing, and we're totally okay with being number 2. It's not like that. Like, they're going to go for it.
They will, but you can't expect they're going to be pulling the same numbers as WWE right out of the gate.
Not at all.
It's going to take years. It took WCW years.
Absolutely. But they have a hell of a start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They really do. Is that Doug from back in the day who loved Tito? Yeah. Same guy. Still love Tito. I'm here.
Yeah, Odie, Ido, do you give CM Punk any shot of showing up in AEW one day?
It makes all the sense in the world.
You would think so?
It makes all the sense in the world. I don't know why he wouldn't do it. He's just a bitter prick. That's really it. Like, at the end of the day.
He shoots down anytime a fan
or
promoter would ask him to, but
I mean, my God. This is it's handed to you, Punk. Like,
and they'll pay him. They'll get money.
You want to talk about screwing over Vince McMahon? I mean, show up at Double or Nothing after Kenny Omega beats Chris Jericho. The lights go out, and he's staring down Kenny Omega at the end of the show. I swear to God, the buzz would just, like, blow the whole building off. The roof would just be gone. And people would buy tickets, T-shirts, whatever. They'll watch any TV show that's invested. You completely erase that embarrassment that was in the UFC, you are able to say goodbye to the fans the way that you wanted to say goodbye to the wrestling business the way that you wanted to. Just do like 2 years at AEW. And like, you don't even have to really be on every TV program, nothing. Like, minor, like, let's say it's work 25 dates a year or something. And the impact would be huge. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
You would have that limited schedule, and you would get paid.
Because you're going to do a commentary job? Because you're going to write a comic book? Like, what are you doing?
No.
Good God, it's right there. Take it. Anyways.
So he might show up, is what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, if he ever has an epiphany that this would be a good business decision, then yeah, sure. I don't see why not.
So Kenny and Don Callis' relationship makes it seem inevitable that AEW and Impact will work together, coming from Jack.
Not only that, he's also great friends with Jericho. So, I mean, I definitely could see it. I definitely could see it.
The pieces are there. I mean, it just makes sense. Why would you not?
Who in Impact do you guys want? Do you want Brian Cage Taylor?
Yeah.
You want Eddie Edwards? You want Moose? You want
Even the women.
Yeah, the women too.
Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah, Tessa would be good.
You got
she was in All In, the first one.
Johnny Impact's girl. He's
Yep.
the champion now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some good talent. Not going to deny that, but I don't know. What we got here?
You have Neve Ghani saying, I hope that the Randy Orton rumors are true of him going to AEW, or actually are false.
Rumors of him going are false. I mean, I just think it's more of a negotiation tool, to be honest with you. But to me, a feud with Cody would just be amazing. Because Cody was with the, what was it, Legacy or whatever in WWE?
Yeah, they can bring that back.
They can kind of bring it back, but they can
the history of it.
They can talk about, like, now I'm the king here, and you're the lower totem pole guy, and they could really have something special
Bring
there.
in Teddy Jr. and do
Yeah,
the reunion.
yeah, why not? Jesus, maybe for like a one weekly show or something.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, there's a lot of possibilities.
Jeff was asking what happens to the 185 title scene with Robert having emergency surgery and Kelvin waiting longer for a title fight.
I think that Robert is going to get stripped. And then I think that the winner, as long as Israel wins and Kelvin Gastelum wins, and they'll probably fight for an interim title. That's what I think is probably going to happen.
You would think so, because like we were talking a little bit before this, so Robert's last title defense was in June. It's just a war with Yoel Romero.
Yeah.
He's finally made it back in his home country, and then this happens.
You know what's funny to me too is like the injury-prone guys, like they don't show signs of it till after they become champion, right? Like Robert Whittaker, you could have booked that guy every 3 months on his road to the title, and there were no problems.
Yeah.
And now it's just like problem after problem. Cain Velasquez, I mean, he wasn't really a big injury guy, and now all of a sudden it's like he can't stay healthy 3 years. Dominic Cruz, until he became champion, that guy was healthy as no problems. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's weird how that works out.
Yeah. Now, what about, so the way that they're doing this Elimination Chamber for the women's tag team titles in WWE, so these Raw women's teams are earning their ways in on SmackDown. That's, I want in. Oh, okay, let's sign you up right now. How do you, what is your thoughts on the way they've been building that match when they're crowning their first ever women's tag team champions?
I mean, I think that the Elimination Chamber card's pretty soft, and I think that this is one of the ways to just kind of get people interested in instead of just your typical chamber match. The men's chamber match is fantastic, but the way they've done it's been okay. I don't really have a problem with it. Who do you think's going to win the titles?
I mean, by far, everyone's going to be thinking Sasha and Bayley.
Yep.
But I'm just curious if they're going to do a curve.
Maybe.
But I don't know who they would be. I mean, half the teams are makeshift teams, it seems like.
Yeah. I don't know. And then Ronda versus Ruby Riott. Are you kidding me?
Well, I think they're doing it to where, so Ronda's having all these singles matches with everybody on Raw
Yeah.
before she goes.
Right.
And I think what they need to do when she does, after her sabbatical, when she makes her way back, you put her on SmackDown. They're going to Fox anyway.
Yeah.
Freshen things up. But I think that's why, at least from my perspective, maybe she's just running through the Raw roster.
I
Granted,
think so.
after the shakeup, some of those girls are going to go to SmackDown too.
Yeah.
But put Ronda on SmackDown when she gets back. She'll be Friday nights on Fox. It'd be fresh coat of paint.
Yeah. He thinks Sasha's going to turn heel. I mean, God, haven't we seen that so many times? Like, I just...
Kind of. It's just they did that whole thing with Bayley for 6 months and dropped it.
Do I think can Dillashaw come back and get a win against Cejudo? You know, honestly, I think the better fighter won. I'm just going to flat out say that. I think
Was
the better...
Cejudo?
Yeah. I think Cejudo's the better fighter, and I think if they fight at 135, the same result. I think that... Man, Marlon Moraes, man, he's impressive.
They need to book that match.
They need
Dillashaw Moraes.
So, I was watching. It was on MMA Beat, right? And Danny Segura was saying that he thinks they should do Cejudo and Benavidez for the final time for 125. And
I agree.
You're going to kill the division after this, but you're going to at least have one final fight. Then you do TJ and Marlon Moraes, and then if they both win, then you run that back, and that makes sense to me. Because then at least TJ's coming off a win and facing Cejudo after that. If you do them right out, like no matter what, right now Henry Cejudo looks like the champion at 125 and 135. That's just the way it looks right now. Because that's what you risk when you do these champ fights.
And when you run it back, it even further ties up these divisions, whether they're going to keep flyweight or not. If you're not, just say it.
Oh, I know. It's so stupid. And not only that, Moraes is a clear number one contender. It's not like you're kind of like, well, we kind of got guys on the fence here, all that. No, he's the clear number one contender.
Yeah, he's not like the number 9 or 10 guy.
And I'm not convinced
forcing him up there. He's earned his way up there.
I'm not convinced TJ can beat him. Like, he's a beast.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when he was with World Series of Fighting, he was running through everybody.
Right.
The only loss that he has in UFC, he just redeemed with the Sun Sal.
Imagine if WWE signs Chris Cyborg or Ronda go to AEW then. Yes, she's out of here. She is running.
I am curious if that's ever going to come to fruition where they actually get Cyborg there and they do that storyline.
I don't think that they would do that. I just don't think Ronda's comfortable with stuff like that.
They would leave it up to her.
Yeah, I think if she was there, I think she'd more go after the Becky. Because remember, Becky and her used to talk trash to each other on Twitter all the time. And I'm like, what the hell is Becky Lynch talking about? Cyborg would kill her. But I get it now. It's kind of like the man talking to the baddest woman on the planet, how she would whoop her ass. So it was like good for her, character and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Jeff was asking, what's your take on Colby Covington and his issues with the UFC and Dana White?
He's not going to win this fight. He's just wasting his time, honestly.
He's really just saying in the news and he's going to sue him.
If anything, just take the number one contender. Like, this is my thing. If let's say that Usman whoops Woodley's ass, right? Let's just say that. Colby Covington is next. Like, you just wait. Shut up and wait. That's really it. And instead, he's just throwing this huge fit. And what has bit him in the ass so bad is he spent so much time being a heel. And now he's expecting the crowd to turn to be sympathetic to him. And they're like, screw you. I don't care if you don't get a title shot ever.
Well, I think you're getting some of that.
You spoiled Star Wars for me, asshole.
I think you're getting some of that where it's kind of like mixed. They don't even know what to make of it anymore.
Right.
And you kind of see this guy who's just kind of just running his mouth for the sake of running his mouth and staying in the news.
Yeah.
Like we see that kind of thing with Mayweather. Not as far as like fighting the promotion, but as far as just saying outlandish shit just to stay in the news.
Right.
Here's what Mayweather said today. Here's what Covington said today.
Right. I mean, it was built. It was built for white versus black. He ran at that storyline. He went to he went to go meet Donald Trump. It was built for him and Woodley. And I think the UFC is missing out on money not doing the fight. 100%. This is that stubborn crap that they pull all the time. And I think it was a big miss for both. But if I'm Colby, shut your mouth, do what they ask, and eventually you're going to get your shot.
She was asking if AEW is more comparable to WCW or TNA in terms of money, major TV deal, or other business factors.
I think it's much more on the WCW line than TNA.
Oh yeah,
And I remember when the rally started off, it felt like WCW a little bit. Like right at the beginning, you had the pool and all that. It reminded me of
right.
like that those beach nitros.
Yeah,
It kind of reminded me of that, and it definitely has more of a WCW feel to it. And keep in mind, like the Bucks were big WCW fans. They went to a show at the MGM Grand for WCW. Cody grew up backstage in WCW, so they're definitely going to take things from that. You know what I mean?
you have to learn from the mistakes that these promotions have made in the past. It's the key thing, and I don't see them repeating those same mistakes.
Yeah.
It's all about, like I said before, they got to pace themselves little by little. It's like they had the rally the other night.
Yep.
They didn't just bring out Omega and a ton of other guys that they could have signed possibly right now for
Right.
top money. Let it breathe.
Yep.
Just let it space out. You still have 3 months till Double or Nothing itself.
And not only that, like they keep always like these past two events, they have basically built a main event type feel at the very end. So the last one, it was Jericho announcement. This one, it's Kenny announcement. Not only is the Kenny announcement, it sets up Kenny and Jericho. Like they're being smart with it. They're not just throwing it all, hey, this is what it is,
Right,
and
exactly.
buy your tickets and whatever. Not only that, and this is what I say when people are all like, oh, you know, they're vanilla midgets or da-da-da, and they're not going to draw. They're a bunch of indie dorks. When did you ever see a promo from Neville like you saw the one that he gave Adam Page?
That's great.
Like, and that's what I'm saying is like some of these guys that you thought sucked actually don't. And they're going to be able to get to write their own promos and do their own storylines and just go with it. And it's going to be very new and fresh. And it's going to catch a lot of people off guard, that people that you've written off are actually really good. And, you know, Cody is a great example of that. I'd have never in a million, gajillion, thousand years thought Cody would turn out to be what he is. And guess what? I'm wearing his freaking T-shirt now. Like, it's just, it's unbelievable.
We had a question for who do you think Ryan Bader's going to be fighting next to defend the heavyweight title or light heavyweight title in Bellator?
Tito. No, I'm just kidding.
Heavyweight, Chet Congos really has actually earned himself the
Chet
shot.
Congo makes sense.
He may go to the decision to have the most boring
But
fights
isn't
in the
Checo
promotion.
going to fight the guy that was actually the legit Bellator champion? Isn't that what
I
they're
can't even
doing?
tell you. That's the thing of Bellator. They'll promote the hell out of their big events.
Mhm.
Then they'll go on a 3-month run of running casinos with one kind of big fight.
I think that the heavyweight is going to be he'll fight the winner between Chet Congo and the guy. God, I don't remember what it is, but he was the former Bellator champion. They finally got a deal done to bring him back. He's going to fight. He'll fight the winner of that for the heavyweight. Light heavyweight, to me, it's either Gegard Mousasi, Chael Sonnen, or Tito. I think it's either those three, because I don't think they have a lot there.
You can do Mousasi.
Mousasi you could do, but if they don't want to do the whole tie up the divisions and all
Right.
that stuff, then I think it's between Chael and Tito.
Toby Montgomery is asking, with WWE's ratings, though, I think AEW can make a huge splash on Monday nights. Don't do Monday nights.
No.
That is a lesson from the past that they have to learn from. TNA, of course, tried that. That lasted a few months, and they went right back to Thursday.
And not only that, don't rob the fans, right? Because, yeah, it's cool and all, but now, you know, back in the day, in WCW and WWE, you literally had to choose which one you wanted to watch. Or you could have like 2 TVs with 2 VCRs and record them on tape and then whatever. But
it was fun.
But now I can DVR both.
Right.
And I can watch both. So it's not the same as it used to be. So I don't really see the benefit in going head to head. Don't rob the fans. Don't make them make decisions like the WWE did all the time, like on WrestleMania weekend, where Ring of Honor would run the same time as NXT or whatever. Like, that's not fair to the fans. Like, put them on separate times so we can watch both.
Jeff saying, I think Banks and Bayley will win the women's tag team titles and start the 4 horsewomen with Bayley, Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte stable, even though they still have to work out the Becky and Charlotte feud. And they've been teasing that, really at the Rumble, but it isn't going to culminate in Mania. That's obviously going to be Ronda and Becky.
Oh, this dude just tore his ass up.
I think that's It's the last prelim fight, actually.
Yeah,
But we've got 15 minutes to go.
cool.
But the 4 horsewomen between MMA and wrestling, basically, at this point,
Yeah.
that's got to be after Mania. They can't rush
To
it.
me, though, that's a Mania match. And I feel
Should
like
be,
that they
yeah.
could build that all the way going into next Mania. if
Unless
that's what
they drag it
wanted
up to like
do.
the Survivor Series.
Which they could absolutely do.
Or maybe it culminates in Survivor Series.
It
I
will
don't know.
happen. It will happen.
Another thing is, too, I mean, if Ronda's really leaving, how long should be gone for? She doesn't
Right.
even know.
Right.
Doesn't even seem like.
Well, you can buy her terrible T-shirts at her freaking website. My God.
You see that? The
Yes.
eyes and Advil picture?
Oh, my God. Stupid. Anyways.
Let's see. We got what do you guys think about the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania should be for the SmackDown title? Daniel Bryan versus. He's retaining it.
So he's big on the mask versus hair match that he's been dying to have in Mexico. So maybe run that with him and Mysterio. I wouldn't mind that.
And there's people saying Mysterio would win the Rumble maybe to go on to wrestle him.
And he's not even in the Elimination Chamber match right now, but I wouldn't mind that. I think him and AJ is done. I don't want to see that at Mania.
There's Jeff Hardy. He's kind of a rumor out there as well.
I would rather do Joe and Daniel, to be honest with you, if that's what they're going to do.
And there's even that rumor at Fastlane in March.
Yeah.
The triple threat.
The triple threat between Joe, Daniel, and AJ. Which
I think that'd be
wow.
awesome.
Yeah. To be determined. To be determined. I don't know yet.
Let's see. Tony Khan said on the Dave Meltzer show that he's literally seen every wrestling pay-per-view. He seems like a big fan.
I would believe it.
And plus, he's dropping stats and dates, when he's getting interviewed. So
I mean, it's like he's the smart Mark Eric Bischoff with money right now.
And he looks like it.
Like this is scary for the WWE. Because always, even me and Bill, we always preach this, right? At the end of the day, the smart marks, your core brand audience, they're not going anywhere. You don't want to piss them off because they're the ones that really spend the money. They're the ones that decide to go to WrestleMania and they live in freaking England. You know what I mean? They're the ones that just buy everything and buy the wrestling figures and the T-shirts and all that stuff. That core audience is now more so being drawn to NXT. It's being drawn to AEW. And they still watch the WWE just basically out of tradition, right? Like, they're not going to abandon the WWE. But are they going to spend as much money on the WWE product? I don't think so. And I think we're going to get to a point where people are literally going to cancel their WrestleMania trips to go to these AEW events. And that really could hurt the WWE in the wallet. So
it depends, yeah. That's a good point, how they book themselves. Like, obviously, they're not doing nothing this year in April in New York. That's not till Memorial Day weekend in Vegas. But
they will have their Starrcade. They will have their WrestleMania. Right. They will have something that will represent their big show. And maybe, in my opinion, what they should do, they should always have an all-in, right? All-in-one, all-in-two, whatever. All-in is their WrestleMania.
Is it going to be AEW's all-in?
AEW's all-in. It's their WrestleMania. You know, every year all-in is going to be the can't-miss show. You got to go to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's how it started. And it just makes sense.
So Randy Orton follows AEW on Twitter. Is that nothing or something to make anything out of?
Look, I think that Randy and Cody have a relationship, right? Like, I think that they work too long with each other to not have some type of relationship. There's no way it doesn't catch Randy's attention. Like, there's no way. And not only that, like, so from what I heard, Chris Jericho's getting paid $3 million a year. That's a lot. That's a lot. And so if you can kind of get the same thing, here's what kind of concerns me, though, is this executive vice president role, right? So 4 guys are executive vice presidents, and they're all wrestlers in the company. So you have Cody, the Bucks, and you have Kenny. So what happens when Randy Orton calls and says, hey, I want to be an executive vice president.
Right.
I want to make sure I get that health insurance plan and all that other stuff. How many can go that way? And not only that, some are going to have egos and be like, look, I'm bigger stars than they are. I should have the same deal, if not better.
Right.
So,
and they're not all structured the same.
No, they're not.
Kenny can still go work for New Japan.
And he said he can flat out go anytime he wants. So I don't think we've seen the end of Kenny Omega in New Japan, which to me is great. Like, And we kind of get to pick and choose the events here. So maybe he just shows up at Wrestle Kingdom every year.
And I think it's something like that. Like that, it was made that a point that he was going to be full time with AEW, but he's not exactly exclusive to AEW.
I agree.
So, and it seems like that's how majority of the time are kind of structured like that. Joey Janela can still work his shows.
Yep.
Lucha Brothers,
Yep.
I don't think they're going to be exclusive necessarily.
But I think they will once this stupid Lucha Underground BS is done with. I mean, good God, it's horrible. All right, what else we got?
So we got Jack saying, I listened to the Tony Khan interview as well, and it got me stoked for the women's division, comparing to this version of the WCW Cruiserweight division. Excited for some new women's stars to be made. And it seems like they're going for that, not always pulling names that everybody knows, obviously. People, the women from Asia, here in the States, that have kind of made their way up.
Here's my thing, though, about the women, right? Can you compete with WWE and the women right now? I mean, WWE's women are flawless. Not only that.
Most of them.
Not only that, but I'm just talking about if you branch the whole group together,
right.
Like you've got a lot of damn good talent. Not only that, they're good, and a lot of them are attractive. From what I saw in AEW, not seeing a lot of attractiveness.
Why does Kevin Gastelum have a title?
I don't know.
So we're watching the prelims. Kelvin Gastelum's carrying around one of those new UFC titles as if he's the champion or interim champion or what.
Looks like he's not being humble either. Right.
Yeah.
Let me check this.
While Doug checks on that, thoughts on Bob Stoops being hired as the coach of that Dallas XFL team?
It legitimizes the league.
Yeah.
It makes it show that it is not playing around and that it's actually somewhat a legit league. So it's a good hire.
And he comes from Oklahoma after several years there, right?
Yeah, big time. I mean, he was a dominant coach in Oklahoma for a long time. And he turned down to coach USC and all that stuff. So yeah, what's Brandon got to say?
Brandon's saying, I don't want AEW to be doing a weekly show. It's so overdone. Maybe a live monthly show that's stacked and helps build to a bigger pay-per-view, which I'm on board with. You don't have to have – if you have a weekly show, that's fine, but it does not have to be 3 hours. Keep it a 1 hour show.
Well, and this is my thing too, is being the elite has proven that you can slowly give people stuff once a week, like 20 minutes, something like that, and it still gives them enough of a feel. So let's say you run a show once a month on TBS, but then you have Being the Elite once a week to kind of build up that show on TBS or whatever. I think that could work. I don't think it has to be weekly. Am I going to be upset about weekly? No. And the problem is with the roster that you do have, you're going to have to try to get them some type of spotlight. And the question is too, man, can AEW afford to be taped? I just don't know. I feel like that they need to be live, especially if they're going to, have debuts and things like that. I feel like live makes sense.
And what are you really driving towards? What's the point of having a weekly show? So you can drive your audience to purchase or invest in the big show.
Right.
Whether it be something on Fight TV or pay-per-view itself.
Right.
Or whatever kind of platform that you're going to have your big show on. You've got to utilize that to the max and not put content in there with a 2 or 3 hour show just for the sake of, well, we got to make our advertisers happy or whatever channel is hosting them happy as well.
Not only that, social media has become such a huge part of what they do and how they've reached their core audience. And it's are you going to just abandon that and just have a weekly TV show? It just doesn't make sense. So it'll be interesting.
Hardcore gamer Dirk99, do we still talk to Bill?
I talk to Bill basically every day.
Yeah.
I work with Bill. I see Bill all the time. Bill is perfectly fine.
He's still around.
He's alive. He's alive and well.
Lone Wolf saying Joe, Daniel, AJ were rumored, though.
I believe it's going to happen. It makes sense.
Joe, Daniel, AJ.
He's talking about for the next pay-per-view. Wow.
I'm thinking of Christopher Daniels for some reason.
No, Daniel Bryan.
That's when I see those three names there.
No, absolutely. It makes all the sense.
Thinking of TNA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think WWE will have Rollins be the Universal Champ, or Vince will be chicken shit and have Brock win and give Brock a BS part-time $20 million contract because Brock holds up the WWE and UFC? So the same old, same old.
God, I hope not. God, I hope not.
No, because we've seen that last year multiple times. I mean, I think with it being Rollins, he won the Rumble. We're going into Mania again. They're not going to go on last.
That's what I think the biggest problem is, too, is I think the WWE overvalues Brock, and I think that he's not as big as he once was, and I wish they would just give him a shot, you know?
Yeah.
So Kevin Gastelum declared himself the champion. That's why he's carrying the belt.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that, but because they didn't say anything else tonight.
I bet Ali was like, you need to be more cocky. This isn't going to sell crap. Go do something.
Well, he didn't make that belt. Where'd he get it from?
I don't know.
They're in Australia.
Right?
Let's see. Do you think, Jeff's also asking, do you think Dean Ambrose will go to AEW?
So here's the deal.
Where else?
Predict it right now. Is he going to stay with WWE? If he doesn't, where's he going?
AEW.
I think he's going to AEW.
He's not a New Japan guy.
No.
He's not going to go down to Ring of Honor.
I don't know, man. Ring of Honor's offering some serious money right now.
They are.
And they could use him badly.
I think it's too enticing for him to pass it up. Granted, the other side of that is how bad do they want him?
I agree.
It's clear the way they're booking him right now that he's on the way out when this contract's up.
I think when it's all said and done, Dean's going.
So do you think if Rollins left WWE, would he be on the same level as Omega as far as work rate? Yeah, I would think so. He's not past his prime by any means, obviously.
No, and I mean, people remember him from Tyler Black and Ring of Honor. I mean, he was an absolute beast. Like, yeah, I don't think that would be a problem. I think what's sad right now is injuries are killing him. Basically, every time he gets momentum, he gets injured.
Even right now.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got a bad back, right?
Right.
So Toby's saying, do you guys listen to wrestling podcasts? And if so, who is your favorite?
I listen to it based on interviews. So, I listened to Jericho's podcast. I listened to JR's podcast the other day when he had Cody on. I'll listen to Meltzer. I'll listen to if you can give me new information, I'll absolutely listen to that too. It just depends.
Yeah, I used to listen to Jim Ross and Jericho when they first came out, even Austin as well.
Yeah.
And definitely. I kind of just stick to post-wrestling. I'm sure all the hardcores kind of follow them, it seems like, with John Pollock and Wai Ting. They're actually based out of Toronto, but they review Raw, SmackDown, NXT. They have a whole network of reviewing shows, breaking news, and everything. That's actually, I listen to them a lot. Post shows as well for the pay-per-views and so forth. And Cesar's asking, there's also XFL, and now there's another football league, the AAF. Somebody mentioned earlier as well, if we've heard of them.
Well, and like I said, what's interesting with that is AAF is a 3-year deal. So, my God, what can the XFL even sign? I mean, you're talking about the bottom of the bottom of the bottom when it comes to talent. I mean, to me, if you're XFL, you contact Colin Kaepernick, you contact T.O., you contact Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco. Like, you contact guys that have been controversial. Greg Hardy. Contact all these guys. Kareem Hunt. Put them in a league. People will watch. That's really your only shot. If you're just going to try to go and get, C to D level football players, I don't think it's going to work at all.
No. And I didn't really even know he's even on tonight. I wasn't trying to keep up with it, but he told me, their first game's on tonight. And if you catch it, Super Bowl was last week, so they're diving right into keeping that football audience tuned in to kind of feed what's not there for right now. Let me see that remote over there. Let's switch over to the pay-per-view.
That we paid for. Wink, wink.
Let's see. He Hate Me is still playing, according to Brad Jones.
Okay. Lovely.
And Jack's asking, who would you like to see called up from NXT after WrestleMania? That's a heck of a question right now.
I don't know. I mean, all those guys are good enough. Velveteen Dream, I think it's God, I don't know. I almost don't want anybody getting called up from NXT because NXT is a better product than the WWE. So,
Oh, Aleister Black.
You could probably call up anybody from Halftime Heat, right?
That's their big six right there.
I mean, you could call any of those
That's
guys.
the NXT 6, really.
Right now, you could call any of those guys. You could call the whole Undisputed Era up if you wanted to. I mean, they would absolutely make it. You could call, I mean...
Is there anybody that you want? For sure, yeah, I want them to come up. And keep in mind how that goes with guys they bring up that you have these big expectations for.
No.
Versus guys that you actually know they're not ready, they need to stay down there.
No. Like, to me, if, like, Undertaker was still, like, an active wrestler, I think it'd be dope if, like, Aleister Black interrupted him or something. They just kind of both have that, like, gothic badass gimmick look to them.
Tenha hoje o melhor answer de toda a história. Justamente pela maturidade que ele tem. 9, justamente pela tantos treinamentos que ele já fez na vida.
Like, how does he not get lost?
Era uma força com uma velocidade incrível.
He's not that good on the mic. We all know that. And match-wise, I mean, I just don't know really what to expect. Like, the main product, it's not what you want for these guys.
Let's see. Jeff is saying Asuka so far isn't seen on SmackDown as of late. Who do you see? Actually, that's something I've been curious about too. Who's Asuka facing at WrestleMania? If Charlotte's going to join that match with Ronda and Becky.
Not only that, if you didn't have plans for Asuka, why on earth would you have her tap out Becky? Like, that makes no sense. I don't know.
Well, to keep Asuka strong.
No, which is fine, but then
right.
You need to have plans for her. Like I said, if they make her tap out Becky and then they put her on like a pre-show match on WrestleMania or something, like what was the point in that?
Yeah. Which I think though it's always something that they can come back to down the road. Granted,
Agreed.
if they actually do that, because you can also, when I say that, look on the same side of it as AJ punching Vince in the face about a month ago.
Yeah.
Before Rumble, and what happened with that? Let's see. Matt Pryor's asking, will DC fight Brock?
I don't think so.
Yeah. It really lost a lot of steam, it seemed like.
Yeah. And I think that Vince just keeps offering enough money to keep him around. Like, I just think that's...
And it won't stop either.
Yeah.
Especially, they're going back to Saudi Arabia for, I don't know if it's going to be called the Greatest Royal Rumble again. But
so it's interesting to me, and I read this, what if Fox pulls the offer? Because right now, SmackDown ratings are nothing to jump up and down about. And what if, let's say AEW happens, right? The Double or Nothing is in May. And then the audience just keeps dropping. Like, could you imagine them losing all that revenue that they were going to get? And so, to me, the WWE in these next 6 months has to do something pretty drastic.
Well, the Superstar shakeup. They're going to load up that roster. I don't know. It kind of, at the same time.
Roman Reigns to SmackDown.
I mean, at the same time, yes, USA also re-signed Raw as well for a multi-year deal. So they can't just take everybody necessarily. What's that balance going to look like, though?
Am I meeting Undertaker next month? If you guys want to donate to the Doug Meat Undertaker Fund, you let me know, because this guy is $170, and I don't think I can afford to. I mean, I can afford it, but man, I don't know if I could sleep at night spending that much money.
That's ridiculous.
But we can start a GoFundMe. That would be great. If you guys just want to chip in like $10 each, I can go meet the dead man. I'll tell him you said hi, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. And Jeff is also asking, was the Rams and Patriots the worst Super Bowl, like everybody's saying that it was? Or do you view it as a defensive game and understand what that was really all about?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. So I think that the Patriots outcoach the Rams. I really do. And I think at the end of the day, the Patriots are dominant because of coaching. I'm not going to go on my Tom Brady rant because I'll do it. I will. But it's because of coaching. They outcoached them. And Jared Goff, it was too big for him. The thing that just makes me go nuts, though, is what the hell happened to Todd Gurley? did he literally have like a mental lapse? Did he lose confidence in himself? Because it almost feels like that. Like at the end of the Saints game, he was almost crying. He was basically crying and just saying, my teammates kept me up and they wouldn't let me fall down, and I just had to stay positive and all this stuff. And then, like, they're taking carries away from him and giving him to C.J. Anderson. Like, it's just the weirdest thing. Like, this guy was so dominant throughout the whole season, and then when it came to the big games, he just, like, mentally broke. I don't know. Strange.
Cody's saying he'll chip in $10 if you become a Patriots fan all season.
You're going to have to give me $10,000 for me to wear that crap.
Kind of a hard bargain over here.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
We got the main card on pay-per-view just beginning. This John Anik and Dominic Cruz running down the card right now. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be. Now it's just a one-fight main card for the most part. It could be entertaining because typically when we see cards like this,
yes,
they surprise us.
Agreed.
Some names pop out.
Agreed.
So we'll see. I know I'm trying to think. One of the fights that was on the Fight Pass prelims moved up to the co-main. That would be Lando Venata, his fight.
Yeah.
So
he's lost like 2 or 3 in a row, I think. So he really needs to do something tonight.
His big fight was Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Which he was a late replacement for
right.
a few years ago.
That was like his debut.
Yeah.
And he did well.
I think he's come off 2 draws of all things, which like never happens.
Right.
Back-to-back draws. Jeff's asking, is it possible that Vince panics and has SmackDown go 3 hours like Raw? Which, no.
No. Like, the benefit of 3 hours is over. I think the only reason they even pull 3 hours is just so they can say we were the most watched at this time. Like, to just keep it going. So Raw was the most watched because they told it up for a total of 3 hours. But, like,
USA wanted that.
It's trash. It is trash. 3 hours is it's too long.
So it would be more so a thing of Fox demanding that.
I agree. And I don't think Fox will.
No.
I think if anything, Fox will say we want NXT.
On FS1.
On FS1. I think that's more.
That's what I'm curious about too. The FS1 programming, what is that going to be? They haven't said.
Well, and then not only that, what if NXT is drawing similar ratings to SmackDown? Then what?
Yeah.
Then it's a whole other ballgame. Because in my opinion, the real way that you compete with AEW is you make your product like NXT. That's the way to compete. That's what people are drawn to.
Frankie's asking, does KD leave the Warriors after this year?
Yes, he's going to the Knicks.
See, I don't follow NBA that much. I'll follow our Houston Rockets time to time, but
no,
not hardcore.
I think he's going to the Knicks.
And we got, do you think Triple H takes over? He would allow cross promotion with AEW when he does take over?
No.
WWE,
they're stubborn
through and through.
They're stuck in their hard way. They're now AEW I think would be willing to co-promote with WWE. Like if they were willing to say they were going to give them the New Day and they would let them be on one of their pay-per-views, then they would be more than willing to show up on a WWE pay-per-view. I really think they would do that.
They're a machine. You're with the machine or you're not with the machine.
But WWE wants to own everything, which is why wrestlers want to leave, because they have so much more freedom to do what they want to do.
Yeah. Oh, he's also asking, does LeBron regret joining the Lakers?
I think it's been a disaster.
They're doing pretty bad?
They're not, I mean, they're not very good. And then he has to basically trade away the whole team to get a key piece to even be competitive. And it was like, the main reason LeBron went there is for a career-ending move. Like, he went there to get more publicity for, LA, and like to learn to transition kind of into Hollywood, like to learn how to be a GM for Magic. Like it was more of a retirement move. And so like people still look at LeBron like he's going to keep winning championships and all that stuff. That stuff's over with.
Well, he's been in the league for what? Come up on 20 seasons?
No, not yet. I think he's like on 16 or 17. Okay. But still, it's been a long, long road.
Jeff saying Valentina could face Jessica I for the women's flyweight title. Your thoughts if this happens? It's really the fight to
death,
make.
Kill.
Yeah, but it's the fight to make. I mean, there's no one else in the division right now that you could really sell a title fight on besides Jessica I.
I mean, I think that's the next fight, but I think it's basically I don't want to say John Jones, Anthony Smith, because I think Anthony Smith's much more of a legit contender than that. But like odds-wise, I mean, I don't think Jess Guy has a shot in hell.
And then Gandhi's action, do you think Fox will get rid of SmackDown if the ratings are low?
I think it's possible.
So they had a gentleman at the conference this week that he was speaking on behalf of WWE coming to Fox. And he was saying something about SmackDown being on Friday nights. At least that's a short-term. That's a short-term deal. And it kind of blew up from there. People think, well, what does that mean exactly? Well, I don't think that it's going to be a week or two, then we'll see what happens. They'll give it a go for quite a while.
I agree.
Before they really entertain, okay, let's think of a different time slot or a different day. Because Friday nights is a tough time slot at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No matter what the program is, who you are, or what the show is. It's Friday night. People are making plans to go out to dinner, go to parties, whatever, depending on the demographic. So we'll see. They're going to be live on top of that. So being live is already their one pull to try to get you to watch. Even though people, they have DVR and they can still watch whenever they want. They'll stay on Friday nights for quite a while, though, before they really make a change. They want to be like TNA where, man, every 6 months they were changing days or time slots because they were trying to compete with WWE. Then they learned not to.
Yeah.
Then they change a network, and then that network wants to change them to a different day.
Right. Who knows?
Cesar's asking, do you think the Toronto Raptors could make it very far this season?
I mean, it's the East, so they have a shot for sure. But, I mean, they're not going to win the championship or anything.
Jeff's asking, does UFC make a 155 lightweight interim belt with Khabib's suspension?
Yeah, for Conor and...
He's out till the fall.
Conor and Cowboy. It looks like that's going to be the fight, which... I mean, Tony Ferguson and Dustin Poirier just have to be livid. But even Dana said that Tony's next. So it's like they're going to do an interim fight between Cowboy and Conor.
Is that Cowboy talking, though? Or is that really true, you think?
I mean, Dana says that he's all for it. So
the fight or for the interim belt?
I think the interim belt's going to happen because Khabib is willingly going to wait till November.
Well, plus, also, it opens the door for Conor if he wins that fight.
100%.
There's your reason where they can go right back to the Khabib rematch.
But because Khabib could shorten his sentence and be off basically in April, he could be able to fight. But he won't do it, and he's going to wait all the way till November. I think that they're going to strip him.
I wonder if they will.
And if they do strip him, good God, he's going to threaten to retire and all this other crap.
Well, he already has.
So I know.
It'll drag out even more.
It'll just be a mess.
Frankie's asking, what is your guys' MMA Mount Rushmore? Mine is John Jones, Daniel Cormier, George St. Pierre, and Anderson Silva. And it's pretty top notch. I don't know who else would you add a Fedor in there? Or Randy Couture.
With what is he asking? Oh, your Mount Rushmore
is basically your top four. His John Jones, Daniel Cormier, George St. Pierre, and Anderson Silva.
Oh, I don't know. Good God. I think you just have to go through kind of eras,
Yeah, that's a tough thing is when you go through from the 90s to where you had, when UFC really blew up in the 2000s, to now where it's like the sport has evolved so much.
Different. Like if you watch back, I mean, the core four in the lightweight in the UFC was Tito, Randy, Chuck, and Vitor. And then, like in Pride, it was Vanderlei Rampage.
So I know you put Tito in there. So say that's your template for your four.
Yeah.
Who did you remove from John Jones, Daniel Cormier, George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, and put in Tito?
I don't know if I can put Tito in there, to be honest with you. Like, I love Tito, but, I mean, he was 5-time defending lightweight champion. But, I mean, Chuck also had his day, and Rampage had his day. And
he's an honorable mention?
He's an honorable mention for sure.
Honorable mention for the Mountain.
I think GSP is in there.
I mean, that really may be it for me.
Yeah.
I don't know who else you would. I mean, you had people who were,
the
first big names like Vanderlei and Coutures.
Good God, Vanderlei was so dominant, y'all. Like Vanderlei was just. It's Sakuraba too. Like, man, there's just so many. You're gonna make my head hurt thinking of this.
Brock Lesnar?
Hell no.
Brandon's asking, do you think WWE runs the risk of main eventing with Ronda and Becky's match and the New York crowd turning on it? What's going to happen is I think they are going to do that with the way that they're really building this match. And Becky is the man And they're promoting it as such. They're keeping her strong at least 2 weeks in. Even though what I don't like is she's going to be on Raw every week until Mania.
You know, and that's another thing too. Is think how long Mania is till now, and you're going to run this Becky shit to the ground, right?
And then you hit the 6-hour
And
show.
then you got a 6-hour show, a main event. Ronda's possibly leaving.
She's going to get booed out of the building.
Beach balls could come.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. And not only that, I think Ronda will not know how to handle it. Like, in the ring, I think she could legit panic if the crowd turned on her or turned a different way. I don't know if she would be able to handle it.
You would think she's got to expect it, though. Not like, well, what is this?
She's
going to
thought
get
she'd
booed out of that
expected to
stadium.
get knocked out by Amanda Nunes, and she didn't.
Because
so.
anytime there's a rumor, whether it be a Brock or a Goldberg or whoever, if you're leaving and the hardcores know about it, they're going to make sure that you know about it, and you're not welcome back.
Oh, yeah, that could be a disaster. It really could. And not only that, shame on the WWE for running a 6-hour show. Like, I was at WrestleMania last year, and not only that, I mean, we had just had a kid and Braun Strowman become tag team champions. You botched the Daniel Bryan return. The last, hour and a half to 2 hours was awful. And then you run that Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, and nobody liked either one. And, I mean, good God, if it gets to that, ugh.
Who was in the Cruiserweight title match last year?
It was Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander.
Good job.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I forgot.
It was a good one too.
Matt's asking, do you think Conor McGregor will ever be champion again?
No.
Interim champion, if they do that.
But no,
he's got a chance with Cowboy. It's not like Cowboy's going to run over him.
No.
By any means.
I think Conor's his peak.
But no, not to even with the rematch with Khabib, no.
And not only that, I just don't think Conor has the same drive and fire as he did before. He was so motivated to become two division champion. He did it. Now what? You know, he's selling whiskey. He's showing up at all these events. He's just a different type of celebrity now. He fought Floyd Mayweather. I think he needs to win to continue to still stay somewhat relevant in combat sports, but I just don't see him ever becoming champion again.
If AEW and WWE made a trade, who would you like to see move? I mean, that's a long answer.
Yeah, well, it depends on who you're trading for because you're expecting equal value, and so it's what you determine.
I don't know.
I'll give you Jericho for AJ.
But
Vince wouldn't make that trade.
Well, no, they wouldn't make.
I'm saying I just don't
anything
know.
close to that, anyways.
You tell me a wrestler, and then I'll tell you who's tradable for.
And even on paper right now, AEW is so top heavy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easy to answer because you have your Omega, your Jericho, your Young Bucks. You have this other talent who may be great internationally, people who know who they are, but not domestically over here in the U.S.
Right. I can't trade Joey Janela for Jeff Hardy. It's not gonna work.
Yeah. Let's see. Toby Montgomery, your percentage chance of Punk wrestling again, even if you had to make your best guesstimate.
45% chance.
Yeah.
45%.
Based on what?
I don't know. I just it makes too much sense for him not to, and I'm just hoping he's not as stupid as I think he is.
He obviously got burned out on the machine.
I get
the
it.
Schedule.
But Jesus.
But no, what I'm saying though is the money's there though. It makes sense, like you're saying. Grab that cash.
Yeah,
it's right there.
It's right there. Legacy, everything. Just do it.
Jeff's asking, what's the future of the 125 men's flyweight division with the rumors all over the place of it staying and getting rid of it?
Dana wants to get rid of it.
It's going to be gone sometime this year once they figure out what they're going to do with Cejudo and Dillashaw and how they're going to do it with a guy like Marlon Moraes waiting for that title shot. And there's no one else he needs to be fighting in the bantamweight division to further his case to fight for the title.
Yeah, I agree.
So Ghani's saying, imagine if WWE signed Adrian Broner.
Oh, why? Why?
I don't know. Bring in, I guess you have the MMA fighters who make the jump.
That's a TNA move.
Yeah.
That's a TNA move to sign like a poor man Mayweather.
This is Tony Robbins. How many rounds is Silva going to need to dust his what? How many rounds is Silva going to need to dust his rookie off? Okay.
Okay. I don't know. I think people are really sleeping on Anderson. How many guys do you know that are going into a fight that says, "Look, I want to stand with you. I want to stand with you, Anderson Silva, and I want to go strike for strike and see who wins." You never see that.
No.
Ever.
Much less Adesanya style. You know, it brings you back to Anderson and his prime.
And I don't care what Israel says. He's intimidated. He is.
He knows who he's fighting, but he doesn't want to look past him either.
I agree, and I just think he's going to stare at that cage and be like, "Oh, that's Anderson Silva." And I think that this fight is far more competitive than people think.
Who do you think wins?
Oh, wow. Sam Alvey.
Wow.
What the hell happened?
They
just stopped the fight, and then they let him back up. I don't know what's going on.
It's weird. Sam Alvey's...
Sam Alvey's done. He just quit right there. He's covering up.
There it is.
That's it.
It's his first...
He's like, "What are you doing?"
His first
and it's
fight.
It's a Goddard fight, too. Who's about to fight him? Oh, man.
Sam Alvey's first fight on a numbered pay-per-view for UFC.
He looked awful.
He's there. He's game to fight, but
What is wrong with him?
He's never been on a streak. He brought his family over there and everything.
Man, he's ready to fight him.
Yeah, he's pissed.
But something happened. Like, they literally, like, kind of stopped the fight, and then they didn't. Anybody else watching this? You're probably not. But
let's see. Who plays Batman now that Ben Affleck is out?
I have no clue. And I think hiring Ben Affleck was a huge mistake.
Hangman Page for Aleister Black for a trade.
Woo! Now we're talking. I
Yeah.
like it. I'm not doing it, but I like it.
What's the thing?
Well, see, look, so he got dropped here, right?
All right.
And then he's like on a knee, just
What's
ducks.
he doing? Oh, until he rocked.
But see,
He
boom,
got rocked twice.
he got hit.
And he's still trying to argue that he
Well, hold on.
wasn't.
So he goes in, and the guy's like celebrating, and he thought the fight was over.
It's weird.
And so they gave him another chance.
This was
and
enough,
then look
though.
at him.
He's
just,
flattened out.
right. He's not even intelligent in defending himself at all. He's getting pummeled. And then he stops it, and you're like, "What are you doing?" Shut up.
My argument being Aleister Black, if they bring him up to the main roster, what really happens to him, like we've seen with guys in the past as well that came up from NXT?
I know.
You do a trade at AEW, you bring in Hangman Page.
So here's the thing. If you bring in somebody from NXT, should they win the title? Should they stay in the main event? Like they're a main eventer in NXT, they need to be in NXT.
The dumb thing is they did that the one time with Balor.
Right.
And then he got hurt when they did it. And they got scarred by doing that.
They did it with Kevin Owens too, and it kind of worked. Like at first, like with John Cena and all that stuff, like right off the. But I mean, he faced John Cena. You know what I mean? Like he went right after the top guy.
Do you push him in the main event at least?
That's what I'm saying. Because I feel like that if they're
you have to.
If they're main eventers, then you've got to keep them that way. You can't just say, "Okay, now you're in a different league and you're going to just start opening the show."
You can't. No way, Jose.
I agree.
No way.
No way, Jose has no business in there.
Let's see. Matt saying, "What's your worst WrestleMania of all time and why?"
Ugh.
There's a couple that
the
really
one
think too much
where
about.
The Rock hosted with Miz and Cena.
27 in Atlanta.
Yeah,
in 2011.
That was up there. That was a bad one. And then probably like.
And even probably 28 after that in Miami.
No, that was good. I
You
like that one. I like that one. Rock and Cena.
Well, I tell you what, that was the Hell in a Cell with.
Yeah, that was Rock and Cena.
Triple H and Taker.
I'll take that one. No, I like that one.
I'm trying to think of the older ones.
I am too. Like
you have 11, which is in like Hartford, Connecticut.
Yes.
And that was with Shawn and Diesel.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Not the main event, but
no, I know.
You had Bam Bam and Lawrence Taylor actually in the main event itself.
I enjoyed that as a kid, though. I really did.
I did.
I marked out
but
for
I mean,
that.
we're 10, 11 years old.
Yeah,
at the time.
exactly. I don't know.
As far as recent memory, I mean, say in the last 10 years.
Last 10
which is
years.
27 is in the last 10 years, but So
20,
I'll tell you what.
23.
So you were at 32 in Dallas.
Yeah.
A lot of people crapped on it because the
Yeah.
booking was just kind of random. With
Yeah.
There's Zack Ryder winning the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
Just,
AJ lost to Jericho.
Yeah,
New Day
after his
lost
debut.
to Bray Wyatt's. The Wyatts.
Was it that bad? You believe?
Oh, it was rough. Roman beat Triple. Taker beat Shane. Yeah, it was. But I mean, Shane did take a dive off the freaking cage, and there was some cool stuff, I guess.
Well, even in the main event, that crowd was asleep, right? For
Yeah.
Triple H and Roman Reigns.
And they're just so over the show. They've been there for so long. They didn't like either one. Like, you just.
Jack has a tag team proposal for a trade.
All right.
Lucha Brothers for the Revival.
No, I'm not doing that.
They would just throw the Lucha Brothers with the Lucha House Party.
Yeah, I'm not
just
doing
make them a
that.
stable.
I'm not doing that. I need better for the Lucha Brothers. I think their value's higher than the Revival, honestly.
Frankie's saying, do you think if Holloway fought McGregor again, would he beat him?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Because when they first fought, that was 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, but what's crazy about that is Conor tore his ACL during the fight and won.
Wow.
That's what legends are made of.
Do you think Adam Cole will join AEW because his girlfriend and friends are over there?
I think this is my thing. I think that the free agency thing, the landscape, the way the WWE and the UFC do business is when your contract is about up, 4 months or so before it's up, they want to re-up a deal. Even if you have one fight left, even if you have all these commitments, I think from now on, guys need to tell them, I'm not re-signing. I am going to find out my value. I will 100% come back here if I feel like it's the best deal, but I'm at least going to test the waters. And I think that every wrestler should do that. If Adam Cole becomes available and he's willing to test the waters, absolutely. And if they offer him a better deal, hell yeah. But I just think that the whole idea of just signing without even, well, I'm just going to re-sign, and without seeing your true worth, it just makes no sense.
You can tell that with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they're really, I think they're prepping him for something big when they do finally bring him up.
Yeah.
They're giving him a slow burn in NXT because it seems like Halftime Heat, we talked about the Big Six.
Yeah.
It seems like he's really the one that, hasn't had any kind of title runs.
He won the NXT North American.
North American.
He was the first one to win.
I guess everyone's waiting for him to have the main title.
And he's like the leader of the Undisputed Era. Like, he has some you can tell they have plans for him. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's friends with the Bucks. He's friends with all those guys. He worked with them for years. Yeah. Not only that, it's a fantastic story because on Being the Elite, they killed him. So and that's why Britt Baker was like, let's talk about the elephant in the room, how you kill my boyfriend Adam. And then they're like, the Elite. So, he could show up one show. And like the way that they did it, I don't know if you ever saw him Ring of Honor. But like Kenny Omega showed up on the screen and the place just popped huge, right? And they're like, there has to be a hero and there has to be a villain. And that's when Marty brought out the umbrella that said Bullet Club, and then they took out Adam Cole. So that's how Marty got introduced to Bullet Club. So it would be interesting to see what Adam Cole, like the storylines they could bring if he showed up in AEW. Does anybody know Marty's contract status? Like, did he sign a longer deal with Ring of Honor, like, before all these other guys' stuff expired, and that's why he's just, like, stuck there? Or did he just recently sign a deal because, for whatever reason, he thought it would be better going there, which I just can't believe. Just curious. Oh, here Cowboys doing a shoey. Yep.
In Australia?
Yep.
Out of a boot.
Yep. He drank that whole thing.
That's Tyson Pedro.
Yep, marking out. Look at that. He drank the whole thing.
And there's Taito Boston.
Yep. That guy's like, give me that boot. I want to own it. Wow.
Somebody's saying that I think Marty's ends in May, actually.
Marty's ends in May?
Jack says, pretty sure Marty's in ROH until April. So basically, he's locked in for the MSG show.
Really? That's exciting. So he could show up after Double or Nothing?
Or at Double or Nothing.
Oh, I'd pee my pants.
Because that's the end of May. I don't know.
Oh, that's great.
They're saying April or May, if that is true.
I love it. Wow, I didn't know that.
I mean, you would think the plan is to have the Elite.
You've got to have Marty there.
Much less Kota Ibushi as well.
Yes. And Kenny said that Kota's definitely in the plans, so that's exciting.
You think they could get probably not. I'm just kind of thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Anybody from New Japan, like they're big stars. Right?
This is my thing: is
like
if they're willing to give them Jericho and Omega, then why can't you give me Okada? Why can't you give me
that could
Will Ospreay?
Even if it's just for a couple matches,
right? Why can't you give me Will Ospreay? I'll watch Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. Jesus.
So I'm asking you specifically, Doug, what are your thoughts on the old YouTube wrestling community days?
I wish that it was that big money making machine like it is now. Like, I'm not talking about all these wrestling guys making a ton of money now, but like the way that YouTube kind of became like a big money branding thing, like I think me and Bill would have killed it. Like, we would have made a lot of money off this deal. It was a fun time, and True Slayer and I personally think True Slayer completely formed his page just to argue with us. Like, and we had a good run, promoting Impact and all that stuff. It was a good time.
And I saw guys like you and Bill. That's where From All Angles actually originally stems from. Me and a couple buddies did it for, I don't know, about a 6-month run, give or take.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I had my experience with it too, and that was around the same time y'all were really blowing up with it as well, like 10 years ago.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing was, and what people don't understand is because we were YouTube partners, we were getting YouTube basically to promote us as like one of the top sports people on YouTube. So, I mean, that's why our views were so high. We were getting like 40, 50, 60,000 views because we were being literally promoted by YouTube. So, like, if you were just an average viewer on YouTube and you went to sports, you would see Bill and Doug. So, it was huge for us.
Brandon's saying, wouldn't surprise me if Marty went to the WWE. Would he go there, though?
I mean, honestly, I don't see the point necessarily because I feel like eventually they're going to put him in 205 Live. But if he did, I mean, NXT would be dope. Like, I'm okay with it. He needs to get the hell out of Ring of Honor, though.
Well, Daniel's saying he's got speaking of Ring of Honor, the Villain Enterprises, that he's got a good thing going there now. Do you enjoy that?
Nope. When I was there, and what's funny,
just Robinson's new stable as well.
And what's funny is at the meet and greet, they had all of them there, PCO and Brody King and Marty. And there were people that literally went right to Marty and then just like walked off. They didn't care about meeting PCO or Brody King. And it just goes to show you, like, Marty's the draw. Marty's the ticket. Marty's probably the biggest draw that Ring of Honor has right now. So, I don't know what they're going to do, man. Ring of Honor's in a world of hurt.
Who's Jay Lethal defending the title against that MSG?
What makes sense is Matt Taven, but good God. Like, that's the best you can do? Like, ugh.
Jeff saying there's rumors going around that Amanda Nunes faces Holly Holm. If that fight happens, who wins? Amanda Nunes, the GOAT.
Yeah. I do like the fight, though.
Yeah, it's a fight to make.
Because what I think is interesting is Amanda could possibly outbox. Holly could possibly outbox Amanda, and it's not necessarily about power. And Holly's also smart enough to not get hit too much. Like, she fought Cyborg, and it was a competitive fight. I mean, Cyborg clearly won, but it was a competitive fight. And I feel like her fighting Cyborg has kind of prepped her to get ready for someone like Amanda. So I like the fight. I wouldn't say that Holly has no chance. I think she has a chance.
And I think they're going to Brazil in May. And they're entertaining, supposedly, possibly doing a stadium again in Brazil, in Curitiba. And that's going to be the same card as Rose Namajunas and Jessica Andrade.
Okay.
And you could do Amanda and Holly on top to make sure you pack that stadium with 40,000.
And then you could do Anderson versus the champion in there too.
Possibly.
If he
Either
wins.
Gastelum and Silva for the interim.
If he wins, he could do that.
Yeah. So the fighter guys, what made you slow down on the videos? Was it family stuff?
Mostly, me and Bill, we moved, So long story short, Bill lived in my house, and then he got married, and I got married. So we both moved out. Like, I moved out of my parents' house. Bill got married, moved in with his wife. I moved in with my wife when I got married, and we lived like an hour away. So it was really hard to make videos. And then when we did make videos, it was just, it felt programmed. Like you weren't as passionate. You didn't really want to fight for anything, or you didn't really want to stand up for something. You just made videos because you had an audience that felt like they needed videos. And I'm not saying you didn't, but it fell flat. You couldn't get hyped up to make them. Like there was nothing that really excited you that said, God, I got to make a video on this.
And me and Doug started last year for a while, and we kind of started tweaking stuff, figuring stuff out. I think we got a good routine kind of going now.
The great thing about us is he literally lives behind me, so we can pull these off pretty much whenever. I could come here at midnight if I need to, and we can knock one out.
Which we've done.
Right. So, it's not as difficult to do. With Bill, it's damn near impossible. He lives an hour away, he has 3 kids, and it's just really hard to get something set up. So,
yeah. This fight ain't gonna last too long. I'm looking at Montana De La Rosa and Nadia Kassim.
Yeah.
I think it's the first fight on the main card. And Daniel's saying, yep, Squirrel's there to help try to get more eyes on ROH to bring more attention to PCO and King.
Well, he's got 4 months, and he's out of there. So Kenny was saying that he wanted to do him and Coda at the Garden. Like, that would have been the plan if he'd have signed with New Japan.
What's Coda's deal
with
New Japan right now?
Coda's a freelancer, so he just does whatever he wants.
I mean, how soon will he come over to AEW? You know it's going to happen.
I think it's going to happen, but I think it'll be after Double or Nothing. So, but God, could you imagine if AEW loaned out Kenny for that Garden show? God dang. Give me Coda and Kenny at the Garden. Woo!
Matt's asking, do you think TNA ever had a real chance to beat out WWE?
No.
No, not any close chance. If, of course.
But God, could you imagine if they had that AEW structure with the roster that they had at one point?
Right, and that was the thing. We all got behind them, especially when they jumped on Spike, 2005, going in 2006, and then Russo came on board, and you saw what was going to happen.
Yep.
But AEW shouldn't be making the same mistakes, like we said before, that they made as well.
They've learned a lot from other people's mistakes. They've had to, And not only that, what's great is, like, the Bucks and Cody are both been victims of being underutilized. Like, they were in TNA's Generation Me. They were treated as the below-the-barrel, mid-card type guy. Cody was kind of in the same boat, and they both made it to, like, the very top of the indie scene. It's hard to even call them indie wrestlers at this point because they're just such huge draws. They make a ton of money. So they know what it's like out there. And it's just exciting that guys that know what it's like, been in that position, and now have the opportunity to run their own wrestling company. It's crazy.
Jeff says, the NFL draft has come up. Who do you think of, or what do you think of this year's draft class?
I'm brokenhearted that the Cowboys don't have a first-round pick. It looks like it's definitely defensive, tackle-heavy, tight end. Offensive linemen seem a lot better than last year. So if you need an offensive lineman, you can get one. The quarterbacks don't look as good, but I don't buy into that crap. The first pick off the board will be a quarterback. Period. It probably won't be with Arizona. Arizona will probably trade out, but at least the first pick will be a quarterback.
And Texans are picking 23rd in the first round.
Okay.
We don't have an offensive line, so
that'd be a great pick for y'all. There's definitely going to be some there.
Yeah, that's what we need to be focusing on. Obviously, we have our quarterback.
Totally.
We've got a good wide receiver, too.
Yeah.
Running back, potentially.
Yeah, maybe.
But
you can get that old line and then get a running back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Got to focus on that. Because the reason Watson was having to scramble so much because the O-line wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great enough if he can be quick on his legs, but he shouldn't be having to do that every single play.
Yep. And then also, what are you guys going to do with Clowney? JJ's getting older, so you could probably go defensive end, defensive tackle.
Clowney's already putting it out there how much money he wants.
Yep.
We're going to have to pay him to keep him around.
Probably franchise him.
Yeah. The first few years was rough with him.
Yeah.
But he's shown up the last couple of years.
Agreed.
Daniel's saying the MSG show would be just fine without I lost it here. Without Omega. Kenny or no Kenny, Vince is still nervous. I think
Vince gives two craps less about the Madison Square Garden show. I think Vince gives two craps less about New Japan or Ring of Honor. I think all of his attention right now is on AEW.
It's not so much being nervous. It's just that relationship that he has with the Garden over the years.
The reason that they got the deal, the reason that they were able to sell the tickets, the reason that they were able to do so well with all this is Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny. That's it. And now that they're all out of the equation, I promise you, if people could sell their tickets, they would. They would. But there's not even going to be a big demand that people want to buy those tickets. The show that everybody's going to want to go to now is NXT. And if you have a ticket to the Ring of Honor show, you're like, oh, I'll just go. Just hopefully it's good. But you're not that excited about it. I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's in Madison Square Garden and all that stuff, and they'll bring New Japan talent. So, they'll have some good matches. I'm not saying that, but I mean, Vince is not worried about it one bit.
Do you think Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan went to TNA to collect a paycheck, or were they there truly to make TNA good?
I think both, right? I think that they wanted to collect a paycheck, but I also think that they wanted to make it better, but what they realize is they're outdated, and they don't necessarily know what the audience really wanted.
There's a couple of things there. So you have Eric and Hogan especially, having that creative control, right?
Yep.
If they saw the shitty storylines, why not speak up and say, let's not repeat the past and not do this,
right,
when that's what they did.
Right. I mean, when you're talking about, this being your next John Cena and all that stuff, you could just tell Hogan was just out of it. And then, he would watch matches that we all knew people were great. He's just wow, we're going to take it to another level, brother. Well, brother, it's already been taken to another level 5 years ago. None of this stuff is new to the regular TNA fan. So, yeah, I just feel like they were outdated.
The news broke today, Jack saying just found on Reddit that WWE Studios and Netflix are partnering together to bring the original films to the streaming service instead of being released out in theaters.
That's a great move.
It is. And Netflix is where it's at. You've seen all the stand-up comedian specials that are out.
And
big-time movie stars are releasing movies directly on Netflix now.
Marine 6 is not that bad. I watched it, and it is not that bad.
Because of Becky Lynch, right?
Well, Shawn Michaels. But... And it's not that bad. And not only that, Becky is the man in that movie, that character.
Did you watch the previous 5 Marines?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you need to?
No.
Okay.
No. It's not that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad.
Steeltown Brown 52. Shame there's people that still look at Cody as the mid-card to prelim star that he was in WWE.
Yeah, no way. Can't.
No, he's broken out on his own.
For sure. Oh, look at that. She is just elbowing the piss out of her.
She's locked in.
Oh, here we go. Armbar. Tap. Tap it. You're going to break it. Nope. She's getting around. Oh, she's got her in a triangle on top of it.
Matt's asking.
Oh. You know.
She may get out of there. Matt's asking, what does the future of pro wrestling look like with the increase in CTE and severe cases like Chris Benoit?
Triangle. I mean, I think they've definitely made their adjustments, right?
You've seen less of that, obviously.
I think matches.
The extreme comparison, but
this girl is getting jacked up. I think. Oh Oh yeah,
You know what I'm curious about
toast.
though is the wellness policy failures are
Yeah.
like never happen.
No, yeah, that's a joke. And then if you're part time, you don't get tested.
Because at first when they launched that thing, it was like how the USADA is with the UFC now. It was like every week
Yep.
somebody's popping for something random. Now you never hear of anything.
She finally got her.
Is it Montana or Nadia?
The one that just raised her hand. The one in the all black.
She won.
She won.
That's Montana. Okay, Montana De La Rosa.
That's Montana De La Rosa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you know. See, now you know who she is.
I know who she is. She was wicked. She had her in a whole bunch of triangle chokes, elbows. She transitioned into an armbar. It's pretty impressive.
Jeff's got a random question. If a movie called Alita Battle Angel is hitting theaters next week, will you see it?
It looks okay.
Doug's a theater guy. I don't go to the movies.
It looks okay. I'll definitely. I'll get it on digital 4K. Definitely.
Frankie's asking, how much money do you think Dak gets?
20 to
make the playoffs.
20 to 23 million a year, which it hurts my soul, but it's what you have to pay for the market.
Fighter guy's saying, I just hope Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny don't hold championships and makes like the Fed look like a joke. And no, they know that.
Did you see Cody's interview?
I did. I watched it today. Oh,
He's
yeah,
like,
I'm going to put myself main event. Put the title on me. Yeah. No, I'm joking. They know.
Yep. Although, the Bucks being the tag team champions isn't that wild. Like, they are the best tag team, in my opinion, in the company. So, I don't have a problem with it. What I have a problem with is, like, Kevin Nash ending the Goldberg streak and making himself champion when he became the Booker.
Yeah.
That's the problem I have.
Right. Jack saying Hangman Page and Pac should be for the inaugural AEW World Title, which it should be.
I agree. I think they're going to kind of make a tournament style to win a title.
Which would be awesome.
Because like a ranking system and like wins and losses matter and all that stuff. Like I just don't think they're immediately going to be like, this is the title. Like it's going to be built up. And it probably will be the same for the women. And it might be at a pay-per-view to be the conclusion to who becomes the first.
Just drag that over the summer.
Yeah. My thing is I mean, let's say Kenny wins, right? And let's say Pac wins or Adam Page wins, whatever. Like, running at it, I mean, that's going to be a fantastic match. Kenny versus Pac, Kenny versus Adam Page, Jericho versus Adam Page, I think would be great. There's a lot of things you could do to make that, that title be legit.
Do you think Vince knows who Omega is?
Yes, 1 gajillion thousand %. They offered him a huge deal. A huge deal.
Know who they're offering deals to.
Oh, yeah. He knows.
He's
not only that, Jericho called him and let Vince know, like, I'm going to be wrestling Kenny Omega in New Japan. Like, it's obvious he knows who he is.
Yeah. Should AEW fear for the great brand of 205 Live?
No.
Not at all. No.
She's good.
Yeah.
What weight division is this?
This is, I want to say flyweight, if not strawweight. It's not bantamweight.
No, definitely not. So she would be in,
I want to say strawweight.
Valentina?
Well, Rose if it's strawweight. Flyweight if it's Valentina.
Okay, keep on.
Yeah. So what else this week? It's really all about building up to the AEW rally. Bellator had a card earlier today.
Yeah.
And it was like their first, it wasn't a numbered event like a 215, 216. It was just Bellator Newcastle. And I think it was just on their app.
Did you see that? Yeah, it was. Did you see Aaron Chalmers lost?
No, I didn't. I really didn't even read up on it today. I just saw that I think Pitbull won barely by decision.
Aaron Chalmers lost, who they've been kind of really promoting. But this is another one of those guys that was like on TV and they, want to give him a shot because they think that it would be good to get eyeballs. But I'm so over that crap.
Matt's asking, who do you think wins between Cain Velasquez and Francis Ngannou? That's next week.
He's asking because the commercial's on right now.
I have Kane.
I feel like if Kane is Kane, then Kane's going to win.
I have Kane.
Yeah.
But I am curious, with the time he's been off, if Francis hits one shot and as hard as he hits, does Kane just fold?
Hit him right behind the ear. Done.
And JDS did.
That's what I'm saying. Just crumbling.
I have Kane getting a win.
I feel like if Kane wins, though, like it's the rocket ship, right? Like they're going to do him and Stipe. They're going to do him and, all the top guys.
Yeah.
Him and Overeem, that never happened.
You don't know how long Kane's going to be around.
I agree.
He was messed around at the Performance Center down at NXT area. Like
you know what I don't understand, though, is, my body's just beat to hell. I'm going to go be a pro wrestler. Like, what? Like, how does that make any sense, you know?
Cesar's asking, do you see WWE bringing back the territory system under the NXT brand, like NXT UK and so on? And it's almost kind of like what they're doing in a certain way. Of course, they're controlling the whole thing, and I think you'd even saw they're looking at NXT Japan.
Yep. NXT Japan, NXT UK. I wouldn't be surprised if they went for like NXT Australia or something like that. I think that they're just going to go after the main markets. But it's just so interesting, right? Because like you can literally watch wrestling from all over the world every single week now. And like even your small little indie promotions, like the ones that the Bucks showed up to, like Defy or MLW or, not even MLW, but the one that was like in Atlanta that they did, like that was streamed on Fight for $9.99. You can watch Ken Shamrock be in a barroom brawl with Tom Lawler, like it's just crazy the content and how much you can watch wrestling now. And where really there's just no unknowns anymore. Because all you do is, who's that? Let me Google. And then I can watch their whole freaking wrestling library. And then I know exactly who they are, So it's just a totally different time now. It's exciting, man.
Yeah. Jeff's asking, is there a chance that Bellator creates a 125 flyweight men's division if the UFC gets rid of their flyweight division? Because they don't have one right now. They have a bantamweight, but that's as low as they go in Bellator right now.
Might be smart.
Might as well, because you can scoop up all the guys and just bring them all over.
Although I feel like one is going to go after every single one of them.
I think one's already got some of them.
Yep, I think one's going to go after every single one of them.
Odie's asking, with Anderson Silva main eventing in his 40s, should Dana give Tito one last run?
No. Anderson's a different cat. Like, let's be honest. Like, Anderson's a different cat. And, it's coming to an end. We all know it's coming to an end, but he's a different cat.
Frankie's asking, which women could you see going to AEW? Possibly Sasha Banks, Paige, but she's not going to get cleared.
No.
I mean, she's made it known she's got the same neck issues as Edge, Steve Austin, so on. But were there any potential big names in the Fed right now that could go over to AEW?
I mean, Sasha would be huge. Sasha and Bayley would be huge.
Yeah.
And
I mean, over time, you're going to see it happen.
I agree.
Whether it be a Sasha or Bayley, or you're going to see like the Iconics jump over or something like that.
I'm not a fan.
No, that's what I'm saying, though.
No, I know. But
exactly
I don't want AEW to just take anybody either, though. You know what I mean? Like, I want them to have some type of standard, too. And they're like, you're okay, but you maybe need to tune it up somewhere else,
Yeah.
Like, I think they would take Tenille Dashwood, that's in Ring of Honor right now, formerly known as Emma. I think they would take her for sure if she was available. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's Asuka, if she became available, she would make a lot of sense.
Good choice. Daniel's even kind of to drive that point home as well. AEW doesn't need too many leftovers or scraps. TNA made the mistake and it didn't work, like we talked about earlier.
And not only that, what TNA did so poorly is they put those guys in the forefront over their homegrown talent. And I just hope AEW doesn't make that same mistake. And the great thing is with the ranking system, with wins matter and all that stuff, you can really build up guys in their own to make them seem worthy contenders instead of just being like, hey, you're from WWE, you get a title shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And Matt's asking, what's the most overrated UFC champion of all time?
Ooh.
Because it kind of depends how you lay out what do you call overrated exactly. Being as far as promotion, as far as flukes, by ways that they won, or what exactly?
I kind of feel like Forrest Griffin's up there.
Yeah. Winning the title from Rampage, and then dropping it knocked out by Evans.
Which was a close fight. Like, he didn't convincingly win that fight, in my opinion. I mean, I thought he won, but it wasn't like overly convincing. And then he just got destroyed by Evans, and then he never even really sniffed it after that.
I'm trying to think too.
Thinking like heavyweights too, like
like those short-lived title reigns, which is typically in heavyweight.
Yes, I don't think Frank Mir was ever that great.
I mean, Shane Carlin was interim champion.
Yeah.
Not really undisputed champion.
I don't know.
Daniel saying TNA picked up WWE cast-offs and booked them like shit. AEW making their roster move original like they are right now. A few big names here and there, sure, but not oversaturation, that's the route that they want to go.
I agree. So let's say that you take an Ambrose, right?
Say Miguel Torres.
Yeah, he's got the mullet and everything. Let's say you take an Ambrose, okay? And then let's say that you take an Orton, right? Let's just say, hypothetically, Ambrose and Orton. I mean, you don't need a ton more. You could. It depends on what's available. But let's say you take Ambrose, Orton, the Usos, and the Revival. Just say hypothetically. There's still more dominantly AEW talent than just those guys. You know what I mean? Like, it got to the point in TNA where it was like more so half and half, if not more. Where from cast-offs from WWE or whatever.
Everybody from Kurt Angle to Christian to
Sting,
Chavo
Booker T, Scott Steiner. I mean,
Scott's still showing up.
Yes. Oh my God. Stop it. He's like a manager at Shoney's, and then he shows up and like, I'm the biggest better. Shut up.
Chris Warden's joined us. He's joined us in the past numerous times.
Yes.
Jeff's asking, is WWE protecting Nia Jax too much because they're too afraid they get on the Rock's bad side, and the Rock would turn down a Hall of Fame spot? Which, by the way, why is there not a Hall of Famer or main eventer right now being announced?
I don't know. That's weird that they really haven't even messed with the Hall of Fame yet.
They usually announce at least that one spot.
With Nia, I think they could give two craps less with The Rock. I think the problem with Nia that you've created is that she can turn it around on the company and say that they didn't believe in big women, they didn't promote me correctly, I always felt like that I was judged, I always felt like that they never appreciated my body and all this. I mean, she could just totally spin it and get lost in her victimhood and all that stuff. And I just think this is a road that they don't want to deal with. I think they've empowered her to the point where she's lost her mind. Which is my opinion.
Chris is saying, I always thought that Mir was good for the time, but it doesn't stack up to today.
He's a front runner.
Yeah.
Like, as long as things are going his way, he's fine. But as soon as he starts to feel the heat, he wants out of there.
Well, you see his fights in Bellator.
Oh.
So
I think it's so funny that he's going to do the pro wrestling thing on WrestleMania weekend.
Oh, Bloodsport.
Yeah, when he used to bash the piss out of Brock for being a pro wrestler.
Yep.
It's like, because your little coward ass now doesn't want to fight anymore, and getting tired of getting punched in the face, and you're like, I want to do pro wrestling. I hope somebody stiffs the piss out of him at that show.
Brandon's asking, what do you guys think? What do you want to see in the new form of the WWE Network? The tiered options seem like it's coming soon, and I think that's what it is. So the guys that run
do you think that they can afford that though? Like, do you really think that you're going to get? So right now, there's 1.5 million subscribers that pay $9.99 a month.
Right.
They don't love what they're getting right now. And then you're going to be like, well, you have to pay more if you want all of it.
What else can they offer? Like, they're going to feature house shows being
I don't give a damn. So they can show empty arena matches? Because that's what a house show is.
I think your hardcores are going to buy into it because look how much money they spend traveling. I mean, especially international.
Give me the NXT package, and I'm out. What is that, $5.99?
Yeah.
I'll pay that.
But yeah, just like Doug's saying, it depends what their top tier package. I think it's going to be for $14.99. What is that? What are they offering even more than what's already there for?
I feel like it's got to be the live access to pay-per-view is $14.99. I don't see them giving away the pay-per-views for $9.99 anymore.
Just cutting that off, and now you got to sign up. Okay.
Right.
Possibly, yeah.
And maybe you can get the replay after like 30 days or whatever. You can watch it. But if you want live access to the pay-per-view, you have to spend an extra like $5.
Because you can jump on the second it's over. You can jump on midway, rewind back, and watch it from the beginning even.
But kind of like how Fight Pass was, right? Like you had to wait a while before you could watch it.
Yeah, they have a 30-day thing.
Right, so it could kind of be the same thing.
Granted, I think Fight Pass, the way they run theirs is $7.99 a month.
Yeah. Fight Pass sucks.
Yeah. Daniel saying Ambrose isn't a work. It's legit. I think somebody above him was saying they thought it was 50-50 possibly. I think that was our buddy Chris Jordan thought the Ambrose thing was a 50-50 work shoot.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, things could change before Mania. They have him till April. So, I mean, they might decide to just roll out the Brinks truck. Who knows? But, I mean, as of right now, it does not look good for WWE to keep Ambrose, which is fine by me. And I see so many people that are like, oh, it's such a shame, you have a member of the Shield and they just never gave him a chance and it's so sad that he's leaving. Screw that. It's great that he's leaving. It's great that he has other options where he doesn't have to stay and be unhappy. Because that's what happened with CM Punk. CM Punk was forced to stay in a place he was completely miserable in, and he grew so bitter and so disgusted that he fell out of love with wrestling. You don't want that with other guys, So if they're not happy, it's great that they can go somewhere else.
Do you think they will do the Young Bucks
versus... This guy is inviting Ronnie Yaya.
Do you think they'll do the Young Bucks versus the Revival and Cornette feud?
I think it would be great, but I don't think they will. But if Revival's available, who knows? I think that's another thing that sucks too, is like everybody knows contract statuses now. So there's going to be no surprises, like real surprises, like what the hell? Why is he here? Oh my God, I had no idea. Like everybody knows everybody's contracts now.
Yeah.
Oh, he got dropped.
Well, he grapples. That's all he does.
I know.
He cannot stand up.
Well, he's not doing well.
Matt saying, couldn't they just dump Nia for legitimately hurting other wrestlers?
If it continues,
or suspend them or anything like that.
If it continues,
but it seems like she already has like this long track record of botching something against somebody, hurting someone.
It's some of it's their fault though. She was not ready. She had no business being called up from NXT. She was not ready. She's green as grass, and then they're surprised that all these things are happening. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, he's getting torched.
Yeah.
Beware the mullet.
Slickster TV saying they have announced the Hart Foundation to the Hall of Fame. That's been the big rumor. Did WWE actually come out with that though? I don't think they did.
No, but it seems pretty legit.
Usually when
it makes sense since Neidhart.
Maybe they're waiting also for their main star to go in. Hart Foundation's not going to main event the Hall of Fame in New York. I think the big rumor's been Rock if they can get him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Rock or Taker. Which is weird about Taker, that he pulled all his WWE stuff off and off his Twitter and everything, and it doesn't look like he's wrestling at WrestleMania for the first time in a while, right?
Yeah.
So
I wonder if he appears. That'd be what I would.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but what if it's nothing? What if he's just gone?
Yeah, that'd be one thing. I think he, granted that nothing's actually going on there.
And I'm not saying Taker to AEW or anything like that for crying out loud. Like, I don't think there's any point in that, but it's just weird. Like, is he upset with them? Are they on the outs? Like, I don't know.
He shouldn't be wrestling anymore.
No.
Appear at Mania. You don't have to wrestle at Mania, though, just to get another match in.
Yeah, no. He should be done.
What do you think about the Hart Foundation going to the Hall of Fame?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Legendary.
I think as low as we got, surprisingly, was Coco Beware here in Houston.
Yeah.
When you get Coco in the Hall of Fame, it's like,
all bets are off.
Yeah, you kind of open up the gates there.
I don't think Beth Phoenix is a Hall of Famer, but whatever.
Yeah, it was kind of early. But you could tell prepping her up to be really part of this women's
Well, and
revolution.
they're going to put Mickie James in there and stuff.
Of course,
like
Victoria.
Yeah, like it's whatever.
I think Molly went in last year for the women.
Yeah, I think so. This dude's an animal.
See, Matt's asking, do you think Batista will go in the Hall of Fame this year? Matt, he's going in sometime soon.
Yeah.
Cash in on how big he is in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, he's definitely going to go in.
He's always talking about coming back in some form.
I just think that he's so surprised the fans don't like him, but it's like, what is there to like style-wise? Like, it's not like, oh, yeah, Batista's here, we're going to get a great match, you know? Like, and the audience has changed so much. Like, you've got this NXT smart mark crowd. They're not drawn to guys like Batista. Like, they would mark out if he came out for a one-time thing or something, but, like, if they want to work a program and set this thing up for Mania and make him like a main event or co-main event type thing, they're going to boo the piss out of him.
Even SmackDown 1000, they were teasing him and Triple H.
Yeah.
What happened there?
But that does nothing for people. People don't want to see him and Triple H. We already saw it at Mania. Like, no.
Matt's asking, who should not be in the Hall of Fame that currently is? They put a lot of people. I mean, they're even doing it to where they're putting a legacy wing in with like when pro wrestling truly was even on TV in the 40s. And
the thing
50s.
is it's so manufactured. Like, it just is about what the WWE wants and presents and all that stuff.
Could you get your question eventually of CM Punk and him going in? Does he go in and all that?
Trump should not be in the Hall of Fame. How about that?
The celebrity wing.
Yeah.
Boom. And Daniel's saying that WWE's Hall of Fame is just a cash grab.
That's it.
Has been for years. Thank God Vince never got his hands on the Great Buddha. Yeah. Remember, what's that guy back in 2004 on SmackDown that they pushed the hell out of him and Dupree were the tag champs. Suzuki.
Oh, yes.
Kenzo.
Oh, he was so bad.
Kenzo Suzuki.
Oh.
Are any of you guys watching these fights right now?
Yes. Oh, are they?
Yeah, not you.
I'm like, yes, we are. Simon's got some he fights kind of like a Mexican style.
Fighter guy saying, Brian, I wish he didn't resign with WWE, but I get why he's more secure with his family right now.
Yeah, he would have been a fun one for AEW for sure.
He would have done it if he was in that position where he wasn't being taken care of, I guess, exactly.
Right. I think also it helps, his wife's affiliated with the WWE also, so it just kind of helps put it all in one house.
Is there anything at WrestleMania that you want to see, whether they're building to it or not?
Oof, I don't know. The dream matches are kind of dead now, Like, they've done it all. If anything, I would want NXT guys versus WWE guys. That's really the only thing you haven't really seen that you think would be great.
Yeah. We're kind of going back to, like, we obviously know it's going to be Rollins and Lesnar.
Yep.
Who do you want to see, Brian? Besides who you think, who would you want Brian to defend the title against at Mania?
Back in the day, I could give you so many guys, and now I just feel like he's faced them. It's really tough. You got anybody in mind?
I mean, you don't want to do Styles again, obviously.
No.
Joe is heel versus heel.
Yep.
Jeff Hardy, I don't know if it does enough as far as a WrestleMania match. I think you had a good point with Ray.
Yeah.
People are behind Ray right now.
I also think they could have a great match. Ray's in good shape.
And you wouldn't feel like Ray just has to go over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Ray would lose his mask, but I don't think we've all seen what he looks like, so I don't really think it hurts him at all.
Put the mask on the line, put it on merchandise. That's what it comes down to.
Well, let's just say he only takes it off for that night, not permanent. Just for that night. Hair versus mask.
What about Balor versus AJ again in a longer match? Somehow Balor gets this, I don't know, a match on SmackDown. If they somehow put that together.
I'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
I really would like them to reference the Bullet Club history, though, in that match.
You know what's great? They actually caught me up on some stuff. New Japan's been putting out videos on their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
History of the Bullet Club and history of Chaos.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
Especially for new people that haven't really been watching.
Yeah.
Because I really, New Japan is literally kind of like, a lot of people didn't start watching until Kenny and the Bucks started showing up. And then there's some that didn't start watching until, like, the Bullet Club was formed. And, so there's different times.
The history there with Anderson.
Yeah.
Before Gallows even showed up.
Yeah.
There's Jack saying, I can see Cena challenging Bryan. That's been a rumor out there, too, I've been seeing.
Yeah, that makes sense, too, especially how he's, like, been disrespectful to the typical wrestling fan and all that. So, and their brother-in-laws, like, or they were. Never mind. Sorry. I still think that Cena and Nikki are together. But they have history. I doubt it'd be better than their SummerSlam match that they had that one time. He was like, I want to slap you in the face, John, but you're just not a wrestler. It was like, oh!
Daniel says he thinks it'll be Mustafa Ali or Cena. I don't think they're going to
push Ali. I don't think Mustafa Ali gets that. No. I wouldn't mind it necessarily because I like Mustafa Ali.
I think Ali's going to end up getting lost in that U.S. title picture.
I wouldn't mind Mustafa Ali and Mysterio. That would be dope.
Yeah. But you do, again, face versus face.
Sucks, too, is really Andrade and Mysterio would have been something at Mania, and they kind of gave it away already.
Yeah. As much as they've been wrestling, you can do Andrade and Ali.
Maybe.
If you do the Ray and Bryan.
Maybe.
To kind of separate them.
I wouldn't mind that. It would be a good match.
Daniel says Ray and Almas need to do a retirement versus hair where Andrade goes over, being the guy to end Mysterio's would cement him.
I mean, maybe. I would be okay if they even had that match at Mania. I still think they could have a great match.
Not retirement necessarily, because Ray,
he can retire his ass on into AEW. That's what he can retire to.
He's in the middle of another great run. I know his knees were shot for the longest time, but it seems like rest and rehab has really done him some good.
He's in great shape,
He can still fly around like crazy. It's like, it's Ray, he's 40, it's okay. No, Ray can still go.
Ray's great.
Thoughts on PFL? Did you check out PFL?
I didn't watch too much of it. I really didn't.
Counting all the champions?
No, I didn't.
Because they're done for until the summer. It's just weird the way they work. It's a true seasonal.
Honestly, what caught my attention the most is the guy that beat Jake Shields twice. That's what really caught my attention. And then he lost. Yep. So that caught my attention. And then the judo female chick.
Yeah, Kayla Harrison.
Yeah. So those are the two.
She's really obviously their female star.
Right. That I would think that they'd want to do her and Cyborg if Cyborg becomes a free agent.
Right.
Just throw a bunch of money at Cyborg.
Cyborg on AEW.
I mean, maybe they like that type of look.
So, do you think Triple H will have a match at WrestleMania?
No, he's not medically.
Looks like they were teased with Ambrose almost the other night, but
yeah.
I don't think they're going to let Ambrose go out like that, though. They're going to save him for someone that they want to really push.
Yeah.
But I don't know who it really would be right now. It's all about Ronda's who they're
The build-up right now would be Triple and Becky.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they've been focusing on.
Well, they're even talking about Stephanie and Becky having a big match at SummerSlam or somewhere in the summer.
Hate it. Stephanie is not anything special.
I could see a backlash if they want to drag out a little bit while Ronda's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about doing that at SummerSlam.
But, what is the benefit? Okay, if Stephanie even is remotely competitive in that match, what does that make Becky look like? You know what I mean?
Well, so when they had Randy Orton win the 09 Rumble.
Yeah.
Where he went on to face Triple H. Well, who came in? And that's when they first started really introducing the Triple H as part of the McMahon family now.
Right.
When Shane came in, and Shane and Randy went 20 minutes at No Way Out.
Yeah.
I mean, why not just have Randy run over Shane, who's not even a full-time wrestler, going in the Mania to main event? But no, they have to have Shane barely lose to Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Like you're saying here with Stephanie and Becky.
Yeah.
They would drag it out.
I mean, at least Shane has had these unbelievable matches and things like this. Stephanie is just, come on.
Are you surprised WWE hasn't aired house shows on the network? That's what we were just talking about. Maybe that's part of the next tier.
I
If that does interest
they would
you,
be embarrassed. I think that they would be embarrassed. There's no point.
maybe bigger house shows.
Maybe
like they did the Starcades,
right? And they did some of that stuff. What was it? Like, remember they did the Ambrose and Triple H pay-per-view thing. But it wasn't really a pay-per-view, but it was like just an event thing that they used to do. But it wasn't actually a pay-per-view. I don't remember what it's called, Reloaded or something like that. I don't know what it was.
Well, they've done even like a show in Japan. They did
remember it was like Steen and Finn Balor or whatever in Japan.
And Lesnar even made the trip.
Lesnar made the trip. So the Saudi Arabia
stuff like that makes sense. But no, to see a house show in Des Moines, Iowa or something like that. Who do you see beating Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's title? Io Shirai? Kairi Sane again, but I think they just, with those two are tag teaming though. You would think
I
they
wouldn't
might
mind Shayna having a long reign.
This is her second reign to have.
Yeah.
Unless they decide to end up putting on Bianca Belair in a rematch of some sort, whether it be at Mania or later on in the year.
Right.
There's really nowhere else that they really have. They had Lacey Evans they were trying to push, and she already got brought up.
By the way, this thing looks like it's going to be fight of the night.
No.
They're throwing down.
5 best tag teams of all time.
I don't know. I really don't.
So growing up as a kid, who was your top 1 or 2 teams?
I was a huge Rockers fan.
Really?
Big Rockers fan.
So
I mean, Hardy's Dudleys. Like Hardy's Dudleys, Edge, Christian, the Bucks.
New Age Outlaws?
No.
Hall and Nash?
No.
The Brainbusters.
I can't do it. But yeah, honestly, like Hardy's 100% are there. Probably Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, whatever. They're there.
Demolition?
No, not doing that. The Dudleys are definitely there.
Yeah, I say the Dudleys. Hardy's is really top 2, if not even the top.
They're way up there.
The Young Bucks are obviously in their middle of their run right now. What their legacy is going to be.
But I mean, they've been in the game for like 12 years or so. I mean, they've really they've won titles in New Japan, Ring of Honor, TNA. Like they're legit.
Question being top 5 though.
I think when it's all said and done, they're there.
APA.
No.
Billy and Chuck.
No, I'm not doing it. Smoking Guns. Nope.
Billy and Bart.
Right?
Godwins.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's just about longevity. I mean, Heart Foundation's up there, too. They were good. I was a big fan of Rockers. I like Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels.
Rockers, Hardys.
Yeah. And what's crazy is I feel like that the Rockers literally, like, generations race. So it was Rockers to the Hardys to the Bucks. Like, crazy how it evolved like that.
Yeah.
This dude's nuts. Simon?
Yeah, that's all 3 rounds.
He's crazy. He's ready for more.
Cesar's asking, do you ever see WWE going to WrestleMania in London?
No.
It's been talked about, but it's like, I think it's the time
zones, yeah.
And how it would air live here. And it just doesn't make sense.
They could do it just if people want to come in at, like, 4 in the morning or something? Like, but I think people would do it.
And they do it for us here.
Yeah.
And they have to watch some of those shows, like you said, at 3 or 4 in the morning over there.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, if you're already used to it and you go to one live, I think they would do it. Tired of Florida with that. Like the Super Bowl next year is in Florida. Like, why?
It's in Miami?
Yeah. And then there's no cover over that stadium, so if it rains, it's just hate that.
You're not exactly a big fan over the
I'm not.
inclement weather.
In 2019 there should be no inclement weather.
I like it. But
put a damn roof over it. But I mean, it's for all the marbles. You don't want to be because you team didn't have the right shoes is the reason why they lost.
Right. I like it more so for regular season games.
Yeah, it's
something different.
Well, and it gives other teams more of a home field advantage than others and stuff. Like, I would just like an even playing field all the way around. Who's the best? That's just me.
Daniel said Lance Storm wrote a good article on why WWE can't get enough people like Reigns over. The article is called "The Roman Reigns Reaction."
Interesting. I'm sure he did. Lance is a smart guy.
Matt's saying, or he's asking, was Britt versus Owen the best opening match in pay-per-view history? It's up there at least. Remember, that's probably one of the best.
You know, one of the really good opening pay-per-view matches too is Kurt Angle and Ray from SummerSlam 2002. Love that match. That was the first match.
Yeah, and that may be the best SummerSlam of all time.
Didn't Daniel Bryan and Triple H also kick off their WrestleMania?
Yeah,
that was a
so
really
did Bryan
good one.
come back out at the end.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And you knew that first match, but I mean, you knew the whole build what it was going to go to.
Right.
But especially when they kicked off Mania like that.
That was a great Mania.
Yeah.
I went to the wrong one in New Orleans, man. I should have went to that one instead.
Do you think the women's wrestlers like Ronda backstage are jealous? Do you think women's wrestlers backstage are jealous of Ronda's push, basically?
Yes, but they have to understand that this whole female revolution and all this stuff would not be happening if it wasn't for Ronda Rousey.
Right.
Ronda made it acceptable. The UFC bought in, and when they started to see how much of a success it was, then the WWE decided to do something about it. So that's really, they owe a lot to Ronda, whether they want to admit it or not.
If Ronda wins, they win.
I agree.
Chris is saying he likes the idea of Rumble being held in MLB stadiums. It makes it feel special. Did you like the way it was presented in Phoenix, the Rumble?
I thought it looked very much similar to WrestleMania. Honestly, I thought it was cool, but God, 7 hours. Just no.
Oh, yeah, it was long.
No.
We have 2 Rumble matches, which you're tuned into.
Right.
It's the intrigue of it, but man.
But I mean, okay, do like maybe 2 singles matches, 2 title matches, and 2 Rumble matches. Like, the end. That's it. That's all you need. This guy looks just like Anderson.
I used to call me event with
he's the one fighting
Lando Venado.
Yeah, he's tall. He's gonna give that guy problems. He's gonna give Venado problems. John Jones walking in the forest. Training. It's just him building up he's the next pay-per-view.
Somebody says everybody wanted Becky to get pushed, and she does. Now people hate. She can never please the fans ever.
Where's this hate for Becky coming from? I don't get it. Like, I haven't seen it. Have you seen it? Have you seen her being getting booed?
No, I think what I figured by the time we get to April 7th or 8th or whatever the date's going to be for Mania, what's it going to be like? I think they'll be okay at the end of the day. If it's going to go on last after 6 hours.
Yeah, that's...
And keep in mind, so if Seth is going to beat Brock...
I also think this is a huge component, right? Did the show suck for 5 hours? Because if the show sucked for 5 hours,
what's the roller coaster
now
like?
You bring that in,
right?
They're pissed.
What's the roller coaster like?
Because that was the difference from WrestleMania that I was at, was the show hadn't been good since the Ronda Angle versus Triple H Stephanie match. So for 2.5 hours or so, we're sitting there, and then we have this terrible main event. So yeah, people bust out the beach balls and the chants and the waves and all that stuff. So it really is about how good were the other
matches, outcomes, and all that. What I was saying is, if Seth beats Brock, and that's like, finally, one of our guys is going to beat Brock, or much less Brock doesn't have the title anymore. We finally got it off of him, and that's not going to be closing the show. Does Seth really go over?
Well, and then another thing is do you do Seth and Brock, and then right after that, Becky and Ronda? And the crowd's going to be dead.
Do you see Brock in the middle of the card? He did that in Dallas, yeah, at 32 with Ambrose.
Yeah.
But you remember how
it went
that
to
match
shit.
was. So Brock's going to have to go off in the middle, unless they're not going to go back to back with 2 feel-good stories.
I'm with you.
That's what I'm kind of curious about, the layout of the matches that they have that night.
I think that I think that Brock and Seth cannot go, and then Becky and Ronda. Like they need to be like maybe the fourth match on the card.
No.
Something like that.
Daniel saying it'll be last because Charlotte's going to be in it to protect Rousey from needing a direct loss, which that is not what they need to do.
No.
That's not going to mean anything.
No, I don't think that's true. I think Ronda's jobbing.
Becky's got to get the fall on Ronda for this to mean anything.
Yeah, I think Ronda's jobbing. Not only that, I think Ronda's tapping.
Yeah, that'd really be something, wouldn't it?
I think Ronda's tapping. And she's never tapped. Ever. So.
Who would have ended Goldberg's streak in WCW and win? I guess if not Nash. That's what Matt is asking.
God, I don't know.
I mean, logistically, like.
There were so many stars that could have done it.
Who would you want to push at the time that deserved to break his streak that made sense to do so? And really, at the top, you had what? Would you have DDP break it? He wasn't champion yet. He really should have been the guy, right? They had that great match on Halloween Havoc.
Maybe.
Not Nash. Would you have Hall? Hall never became the world champion. Would you have Hall break the streak?
No.
DDP, right? He's got it. As far as who they had in the main event, would you have Booker do it when they were still in Harlem Heat? Or maybe, no, he was fresh off breaking off in Harlem Heat.
But it was such a different time there, right? Like, you fed your stars, and the young guys never got their shot. Like, that's kind of how it was. And so, like, to give a guy a shot, it wasn't that mindset back then. It was literally to make a star bigger. So you got to be thinking like Hogan, Sting, stuff like that would have probably broken that streak, not Nash. But I don't know. Their whole mindset was screwed up back then. They had so many young guys, but they never wanted to really elevate them.
Chris has a good point. Brock and Goldberg was actually in the middle of the card as well at 33.
Yeah.
So Brock does the middle of the card. So I guess they could still.
They also told Brock you got to go for 2.5 minutes. He's like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at this guy. He looks like Anderson. See?
Is that next co-main event?
This is the co-main event. Or it's supposed to be, right?
That's fast if it is.
What time is it?
10:05? Yeah, I guess so.
Jesus.
Wow.
Okay. Good, let's get this over with.
Daniel saying the Harlem Heat was a different ball of wax. They had a loaded tag division, WCW, and Booker and Stevie had a tangle with them all the time. Yeah, I mean, even when they went back together, and it kind of was weird. They brought in Ahmed Johnson at one point. It was Harlem Heat 2000. Then they fought for the name of Harlem Heat.
Yeah. He's praying.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a promo for 235 with Jones and Anthony Smith.
This literally looks like Anderson Silva decided to come out early. Like, what in the world? I've never seen this guy before, and he looks just like Anderson.
Jack says this 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen feud shouldn't happen anytime soon unless Sasha's going to AEW or something. Jessamine and Marina aren't close and ready as well.
The whole AEW thing, though, is, man, let's see how this thing plays out. Let's see what their TV deal looks like. Let's see how appealing they look. Like, they could be one of the hottest things, and guys that you think or girls that you think would have no interest now are like, I want to work there. You know, we just don't know. And of course, this guy's in yellow to make it even more confusing.
With reports that the NFL and the NFLPA talking a CBA deal right away, is there a chance of no lockout?
I sure hope so.
2020 and 2021.
I'm all for getting it started early. The biggest thing is going to be guaranteed contracts and Goodell's power in suspending players, and if they're going to have actual like legal arbitration and all that stuff.
Says they're saying Disney is going to debut their own streaming service very soon. Also, Apple. How many damn streaming services are there going to be?
It's the wave of the future.
Yeah, that's where we're at now.
You pick your entertainment. That's why I don't know how long cable lasts.
Daniel, going off of what Jack was saying about the Four Horsewomen feud, they're probably going to build it and burn it to SummerSlam and Survivor Series. That's what I think too. They're setting the motions for it right now, but not where they're going to jump ship and blow it off at Mania.
I think after Mania, Ronda's taking a break for a while, regardless whatever she decides. And then I think if she does come back, it will be around that SummerSlam time. So that would make sense. Like, let's say she loses to Becky and then she's gone for a while, and then they bring Shayna to the main roster and they all jump Becky, all four of the horsewomen. And then out of sympathy for Becky because she's getting beat so bad, Charlotte and Sasha and Bayley come out to save, and then you set that up.
Are they going to overbook that main event and just have it run in Central? It's going to be triple threat. There's going to be no DQ.
Oh, you mean the WrestleMania match?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. And then the problem is when you're feuding with the McMahons, what happens? God, they bring in different referees and they bring in different stipulations and they run in and just no. God, no. It's like you know better and you continue to make the same stupid mistakes.
Match asking, which match is worse? Hogan versus Warrior from Halloween Havoc 98 or from Mega Powers versus the Alliance to end Hulkamania from Uncensored 96? I guess you can go either way with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't care how bad the match was. I was still excited for Hogan and Warrior. Like, it was bad. Don't get me wrong. It was awful, but I was still excited for it.
Daniel saying AEW needs time and a TV deal, but selling 12,000 tickets that fast proves fans are hungry for alternatives.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Not only alternatives, like, there's been other alternatives, but I feel like the fan base at the Bucks and Cody and all of them they're willing to run through a wall for him. Like, Cody could be like, we want fans to invade Raw. So we're going to give you guys a month, and I want 10,000 people there. And there will be 10,000 people there to help them invade Raw. Like, they're basically, whatever they're asking for, they're getting. And it's hard to deny them right now. Marcus Mariano is Anderson Silva Jr. Like, this is ridiculous.
Daniel saying WWE will make the Mania match a no DQ triple threat. Shayna, Duke, Shafir will run in, and then out comes Sasha and Bayley. Becky wins in a clusterfuck.
Well, I tell you what, if that happens, get ready for the crowd. That's all I got to say.
What are your thoughts on Nick Aldis?
I'm not a fan. That's Magnus, if you don't know.
Yeah. NWA champion.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Mickey James' husband?
Yep. Not a fan. You know what? So I watched this interview with Mickey James, the one where that guy who interviewed Dolph and Chris Jericho recently, like in his car or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So he interviewed Mickey James.
Saw that one.
And she was like, the wrong business was done at All In because the fans expected Cody to win. Yeah. And then the rematch could have been bigger. Nobody even knew about the freaking rematch. And people paid money to see Cody win the title. That would have been the dumbest thing in the world if Cody would have lost to your husband.
I was laughing at the dude interviewing her. He didn't even know about the rematch.
Exactly. And then they did. He's like, well, the rematch would have been done bigger business then. Nobody cares about that. People came to see Cody win the NWA title. That was the whole point of it. Like, I hate when wrestling minds think, oh, we've got to keep swerving the crowd because this is what they expect. Sometimes they need to get what they expect. That's what they paid for.
So you like Nick Aldis?
No. They don't. But he's like friends with Marty and all those guys.
Is he really?
Yeah. So might not be able to get rid of him. He'll probably sign with AEW soon. I'll throw up, but whatever.
Matt's asking, can you see Brock retaining the title against Rollins if it doesn't go on last?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, there's always a chance, and they're going to pay him the big money to go to Saudi Arabia in May.
Wow. This guy is not Anderson Silva.
Daniel's saying Billy Corrigan wanted the title on Cody for name recognition, try to bring back some more attention to Aldis, who took it back from him. That was the point. Pretty much that's what I got from it, right?
What?
Billy Corrigan, why the NWA title. They wanted to put it on Cody for the name recognition.
Yeah.
But put it back on Nick, obviously.
Right.
It was a short-term fix.
Cody had to win. Shut up, Mickey.
Jeff, I just watched the first AAF game between San Diego and San Antonio.
That was,
I thought it was a solid game. It's worth checking out.
Okay. I DVR'd it, so.
What are the other games? Like, are they all airing on CBS or what?
There's like 2 more games tomorrow. So they had like 2 games tonight, and they have 2 games tomorrow. And they're on CBS, and then they're on something else. I don't remember.
Did you check out the new Child's Play trailer with Aubrey Plaza?
No, I didn't. I'm not a big horror movie fan. You are, which is weird because you don't like movies, and then the movies that I don't like, you like. So whatever.
Horror movies and comedies, just the ones where I can just shut my brain off and just watch.
Yeah,
they don't always have to make sense to me.
That's true. I like action movies like that, like just the cheesy, just blow stuff up and have cheesy one-liners and stuff. Love that.
Comedies.
Yeah, but with action. Like Tango and Cash. Tango and Cash is one of the greatest movies of all time. You would actually
like probably the collection of Dwayne Johnson's movies.
I do. I have most of them. Dwayne Johnson gets my money.
They're changing Chucky's voice with the new actor.
Oh, are they?
So not I'm blanking on the other guy's name, but
it's okay.
Do you think Braun will last in WWE soon, or leave soon because of his injuries?
I don't. I never understood why people liked him enough. Like, I think they booked him somewhat smart, but like, did you really look at that guy and think, oh yeah, future of the company? Like, I didn't.
I mean, he showed up as like the 4th wheel of
the Wyatt family, which is a failure. And why do people think that Bray is the one that's gonna? Because Rowan with Daniel Bryan, they expect Bray to just come and get a title shot. Like,
the recycler,
right? And Bray like, oh, I want that hip belt.
He might though,
right?
He's coming back.
Man, Venata is whooping his ass.
So I think guys like Braun and Elias are for kids.
Walk with Elias. He's over though, man.
Yeah. He's kind of rough in the ring.
Yeah, I don't know what they're like. You don't want to be great. Let's have Elias feud with Jeff Jarrett. Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Matt asks, did you ever see the Stallone movie Nighthawks?
I've seen every Stallone movie.
Me, not so much.
Stallone is like the GOAT to me. I love that man.
Daniel says Rollins is going to eat a boatload of F5s. Miraculously keep bouncing back.
He tapped him.
Mate Brock, man, look at that, came back.
Venata won.
Like Holt, Brock smash. Rollins finally connects with the curb stomp and pins him. So basically, he's going to give him he says Brock's going to give basically the range treatment to Rollins, but Rollins is going to still kick out, and finally hit the curb stomp.
How many F5s?
He didn't say. Just
I don't think there needs to be a bunch of F5s.
There's already 6 on Raw just to build up.
That's the stupidest crap. Like, maybe kick out of 1, but like, don't give him 6 and kick out. Like, Taker could only take 3.
What is the best Rocky movie?
Oh God. I mean, It just depends on what you're in the mood for. It really does. If you like the more like MTV 80s type, like Rocky 3 and Rocky 4 is fantastic. If you want like just straight drama, Rocky 1, Rocky 2. If you want like just badass, Rocky 4 is badass. Rocky 3 too. I don't know. 3 and 4 are probably my favorites, but I love them all. I really do. Creed 2 comes out on digital this Tuesday. I already bought it.
Jack said he saw Elias in Vancouver last year, and the crowd was really hot for him.
Yeah, they are. But are they hot for him or are they hot for his gimmick? They just wanted to chant, walk with Elias and just, because it was like Fandango, right? Like, the people were dancing with him, but they didn't give a crap about Fandango.
See, the evolution of the character, now that you've hit that point, now what?
Right.
I don't think they know how to evolve him.
I agree.
He's turned back heel again.
Right.
With Jarrett and Road Dogg, that little small deal that they did. But what do they do with him?
Right.
You always come back from commercial and he's right there in the ring to sing the next song.
Yeah.
To draw heat from the crowd.
Eventually, there's got to be more. There's got to be something to it.
It should be main event time next.
If it is, then we're out of here. Anderson and Israel get my full attention.
Yeah. I don't think it'll last long.
I don't either. What I'm worried about, though, is I'm worried that the fight's going to suck. Like, I'm worried that Israel is just going to be too passive and Anderson's just going to be goofy,
Yeah.
Like, I'm worried that they're going to both be too afraid of the counter that they don't do anything.
Are you going to watch the new Page movie, Fighting with My Family?
I will watch it, but I will not go to the movie theater to see it.
Just Dwayne Johnson's in it?
No. I mean, it looks decent. Doesn't have to. Like The Rock, I don't go see everything. But I do like most of his movies. Central Intelligence, Jumanji, all the Fast and the Furiouses, The Game Plan, Rundown's fantastic, Scorpion King. I've seen him.
Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain. That was not very good. I did not like that one too much.
That was Matt. That's what he actually was asking. What's his favorite Rock movie?
See, I already answered your question. I didn't even know it.
Is Johnny Gargano the best wrestler in WWE? Mr. No Clout.
I think he's right up there with Wrestler of the Year, best wrestler in the world. Like, his stuff is unbelievable.
It's Johnny Takeover, Johnny whatever. Always has the best match of the night. Like, he has like that Rob Van Dam kind of
It's really like
aura.
It's really like Kenny Omega and Gargano. Like, that's really what we're dealing with right now.
Will the WWE treat Elias like Damian Sandow? They both get great reactions, but WWE gets rid like they did Sandow. Or they're going to get rid of Elias.
Here's the thing, though. They don't want to get rid of anybody now.
Right.
Because of
keep signing more
AEW
people.
and Impact and Ring of Honor. Like, there's so many options for guys now, they don't want to get rid of anybody.
I wonder if the kill time is 10:40. We're already at the main event.
I'm sure the people that paid the money for this, like we did, are really pissed right now because it's been okay.
Well, suppose that they offer people who actually bought tickets to it, they could get a full refund if they won at the box office.
Dude, if you're going to see Anderson and Israel fight live, you're not going to want a refund,
No.
in my opinion.
Says Gargano is like a hybrid of AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan.
Kind of.
Yeah. Who's the most overrated women's wrestler of all time? I mean, there's some that they've really pushed to the moon there, like a Kelly Kelly. But they actually put the title on, the Diva Days, with the butterfly title.
Oh, God.
I mean, the title was even on Maurice at one point. But that title went on anybody that they felt like pushing.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to keep in mind, most of the women back in the day, like, I kind of tuned them out. Wasn't a big fan, so it wasn't really, I mean, the ones that I liked was kind of universal. Everybody likes, like China, Lita, Trish, Molly Holly, Victoria. Those were fine, but when it was like in those diva days when they were winning championships and they're trash, like, ugh.
That says Alexa Bliss is overrated. Another person says it has to be Paige as the
Paige. Okay, I'll go with it. Paige is the most overrated because I've never seen her have a great match, and she had like all this hype, and it was like never there.
Daniel, Nikki Bella at the end.
You know what? I give Nikki some credit, man.
Yeah.
Like she worked hard. She broke her neck basically to try to get better. I can't put her as most overrated.
So Molly Holly was one of somebody's favorites, Daniel's favorites. Nia Jax is overrated, which I'm sure everybody's saying right now.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, it's main event time, so it's been real.
Yeah, well, this is great, guys. Had a good turnout and everything.
Be sure to check out our videos and all that good stuff.
And go follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter.
Check out pwpnation.com.